just feel like I'm at war with Kabam. Then we go down to their offices and like there's no war. It's completely all peace. Like they're so nice and so different in person. It's completely different.
I think it's important for people to know how much the devs actually do care about the game. There's a lot of just hate given around.
Will you keep the open dialogue? If they close that dialogue, I mean, not to go all game sense, but it's GG's. Like, it's game over at that point if they close the dialogue back down. We're right back before Brawl. None of it mattered. The only thing we got from it was the friends we met along the way.
There are a lot of things we're excited about. There's a lot of opportunity, a lot of potential, and yet it's all undergirded by this uncertainty.
The question that I have in my mind now that we're 2 weeks removed from Summoners Fest is, were those conversations lip service, or are they actually going to follow through on what they promised?
Back to the bottom where we belong. The tilt is real, it claims the strong we are. Ooh, warriors. Ooh, warriors.
Oh, hey, all. Gotta be careful with those Cantonas roaming in the hallway. He'll be here intermittently, so keep your eyeballs peeled. Speaking of guests, though, there is someone who had something very important to say about the upcoming roundtable.
Distance myself from the game a bit, but there's definitely still people, like Truth that I still keep in contact with, and I'm excited to hear from it. And those, you told me who's on that roundtable, and that's a lot of kind of different types of people with different types of experience. I think is going to be really valuable for the listeners.
Hey, big thanks to MP for giving us that little forward. I had a nice conversation with him a couple days ago, and you'll get that later this week. Whole breakdown. He goes into a lot of insight and perspective of all the things that went down, but that's neither here nor there. That's for its own time. Just thank you to him. Very excited for this group today. There's a lot to unpack from our mindsets that were going into Vancouver, the experience that we had there, and where we're at now, what that's going to look like moving forward. There's definitely a notable tone shift from the first two roundtables. We were very critical, a little harsh going in, and I think rightfully so, by the way. And we're not really backing off that, but I will say that going into and out of Vancouver, I think there's been a note of humanity added into the relationship that's been going on here. And I know for those who couldn't make it, well, you're not going to feel that. All I can ask is that you listen to us, and to some degree, as much as you can, kind of trust where we're coming from. I think everyone here is a solid judge of character. We have different perspectives for sure, but we had a lot of varying conversations, and I think, I hope like what comes out of this is that we see that there is a glimmer of hope. There's a glimmer of opportunity. Will we do something with it? Well, I think that's up to them, and to some degree up to us. We'll see how that goes. Last note is I was a little sick while this is going on. I still am. So forgive any of the coughing, stuff like that. I didn't notice as much of it as I expected to, as it felt like was going on when I was recording. But, it's still there. So I apologize for that. Now, last thing, if you've made it this far, there are going to be some hallway Cantonas throughout this podcast. I was given a Titan Crystal to give away by Kabam. And so, those of you who watch this podcast and comment, or in your comment, include the correct numbers of Cantonas that you find, you'll be entered for a randomized drawing to win that Titan Crystal. I wish you all the best. I hope you enjoy, and I can't wait for the next one. Please make sure you leave us comments. Let us know what you think. We need to gather all this input because communication is key. Looking forward to it. Until next time, peace. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're well. Welcome back. I'm very excited today. We've got a tremendous crew together. We have a few who have been here that have expressed their perspectives before, and one newcomer that I'm extremely excited about. Extremely excited. Forgive me, I'm heavily medicated, lightly caffeinated, but we're surviving, baby. We get into the mix and we do it. I'm really looking forward to this conversation today, is where our heads were going into Summoners Fest, what the experience was like for each of us, and how that's tying to our future in the game. So with that said, we'll go in our typical alphabetical order, so we're not showing favoritism. Without that, there's no chaos. And Yusafa, you know what that means. I'm sorry, brother. That's on you.
Means I'm last.
Can't make you feel
That's
special
right.
when you got the last letter. That's on you. We'll
It's an
go
honor to be the last,
Cantona, Lags, Puppy, and then Yusafa. And just kicking off, I wanted to start with kind of summarizing for the people, bringing back to the forefront where your heads were going into Summoners Fest. Each of us attended. I think that when we get to that part of this conversation, we'll be expressing that we had a very positive time. But the time leading up was not so positive. So, Cantona, why don't you kick us off? Where your head was going into the brawl?
Yeah, well, hello. That you all probably know who I am from the massive ginger head that was on the brawl stage. Basically going in, I think I said this a lot in the other round table I was in, but it was kind of a bit of a last chance saloon type thing where if this is not a good experience, if nothing turns around, if no plans are made, if no good conversations are made, I'm kind of gonna slowly taper off from the game because 2025 is a year for the game. I just fundamentally disagreed with pretty much everything that was done, or things that was not done. That was more of the issue.
All right, Lags, what about yourself? I think you put some stuff out. I've been catching up on your content from before and after. Very critical of the Rebalance program, rightfully so, I think. But going into the Summoners Fest and the Brawl, where's your head at in terms of the game, how it's functioning, how much you're enjoying playing it, etc.?
Yeah, so I would say like leading up the last couple months, I've not really been enjoying the game at all. Like I had for a couple weeks, like I'd be logging in just to do AQ, just to make a video, like just for whatever. And then Kabam just kept making some very bad decisions and just you guys really covered the issues on one of the podcast last time. Just like they treat us like we're idiots, and it's very frustrating at times. So going into the event, yeah, especially the rebalancing program and everything, I was really hoping for some good news and just for the future to look brighter because before going to the Summoners Fest, the future was looking very bleak, I would say. That's the way I put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, very similarly, I saw a lot of jokes last round table about how I commented on Big Thing. That dropped
Oh yeah.
like a week later. And I don't think I've crashed out that hard in this game in many, many, many years. I strongly dislike it. I think it's a poor game mode. I think it takes away a lot of the aspects that are fun in that game mode. For me, obviously, some people will have different opinions, so I'll keep it to me. But I was totally checked out. I was like, last hurrah, we're done after this. I'm like, it's over. It's over. I just want to meet people. So that's where my head was at.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I was, I think I was overly critical of Kabam in the game, leading up, especially the 3 months leading up to the game. And I was looking at it from a different perspective too, just from the position of where my account is and how I play this game. I did feel that those 3 months leading up, I was really questioning whether or not I was receiving the value of the game, enjoyment of the game for the money that I was spending on the game and have in the past year and 10 years prior. The 3 months I was really questioning, and I was pulling up all the receipts and thinking, is it really worth it anymore? Um, Based upon all the bugs in the game that were happening, the disconnects, the server disconnects, the transparency that or the lack of transparency that was being provided to the player base. Uh, it was more and more frustrating every day, and it just seemed there was one month where it just seemed that there was error, bug, um, a misstatement of somebody in the community that just brought everybody down, and it was just a very poor feeling leading up to the brawl. And I was completely honest and upfront towards the community that, hey, if things do not improve, I'm most likely going to start taking a back seat and stop investing in the game leading up to the brawl. Um, I was upset about the meta defenders, just like everybody else was. I thought they were taking away from the game and the enjoyment of it. I felt that the top spinners weren't being valued and that I was not special. And I know that was uh, that did get some ire from some of the community, but you know what? I didn't feel special. I wanted to feel special. So I was hoping at the Summoners Fest that I would eventually, or there would be some appreciation for the top spinners of this game. So that's what I was thinking about leading up to the fest.
Okay, excellent. And then came the fest.
Mhm.
So we have varying perspectives on that. Of course, we have 2 contenders with us, which, by the way, gentlemen, a round of applause for you. Amazing
Hey,
stuff. Amazing show
thanks.
put on. And then we have Puppy, who also contender.
Yeah,
Mr.
Dylan.
Beat the Boss, defeated by input issues.
Battle of the villains.
Yeah.
And then there was Yusafa, who was really just there in the background. I actually have you in a little snapshot I'm going to clip out for the video I put together on my Summoners Fest stuff. He was
All right.
just always there in the background doing his whale work.
That's right.
So give me kind of, again, we'll keep going in the roundtable till we start opening up the conversation. Give me the high-level overview of your Summoners Fest experience. How was it? Pluses, minuses. Give us the lowdown from your
Yeah.
perspective.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna say about the brawl itself in too much detail because I don't want that to overshadow the general experience. But just as one big pro, the brawl itself, I think Kabam pulled out pretty much all the stops they could, especially when they got the last minute down to 7 participants issue, which I think the format they came up with was pretty decent in the time they had. I mean, sure, you can suggest tweaks and stuff, but they essentially had a few hours to bring this up, which
Yeah.
they communicated it to us pretty well. Throughout the run up to the actual brawl, in like terms of the metas and stuff, there was quite a lot of disagreement with them. But the thing that I'm happy that they did is they did essentially hear us out on pretty much everything. The only issue, which I know Legacy mentioned as well, I think one of the biggest things about the brawl was the whole headphone gate.
Bro.
Which I think
real.
I'm pretty much the only one who didn't care about that because I would rather play with the bit of like background noise, but I get that for everyone else that was an incredibly weird and just strange backward step, especially because they had the headphones last time. But
Yeah.
in terms of the Summoner Fest as a whole, I mean, it was what I said going in. Meeting everyone was possibly the best weekend I've had of my life, like so far. Like meeting the participants, just all the general people, like Truth, Puppy, Yusafa. Just and as well, one thing that did surprise me that I'd give as a big pro, every single Kabam dev that I spoke to was way more open to feedback and criticism than I thought they would be. I thought they would go in with a bit of like the guard up essentially and trying to have like carefully calculated responses to everything, but in a lot of the chats they was very open to stuff. There is multiple devs who I have on Discord have essentially said, send me your criticisms, your ideas, what you would like to see. We obviously can't guarantee anything, but there does seem to be an opening of communication. But if I had to give one single con, because the fest itself was, I mean, I said it a few times, probably the best weekend I've ever had. There was one con, it was that there was some things that seemed to be purposefully not mentioned, either in the streams or just in general, or in like the other bits, because there was stuff like dev Q&As happening at the same time and stuff. But in terms of communication to the wider community, they tried to keep everything on the fun side, which is fine. That's completely fine. You know, you want to make this a big thing, but when the game's in such such a pivotal moment of either falling off a bit or continuing, they didn't really want to address the big issues on the wider stage. They kind of kept that a bit hush hush to like private talks in bars and stuff, which is fine for us, but for someone who didn't go, I mean, they have no idea what was discussed unless we tell them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Good lead off. What about you, Lags?
Yeah, it was
What was
great.
your brawl experience, man? I mean, you did
That's
a
tough
40-minute video on it today, I guess, right? You gave us the whole lowdown. It was great.
Yeah, it was mainly on the tournament. That's a tough one
Yeah.
to follow up, Cantona. You killed it. Honestly, I want to come at it a bit more from like being in the tournament perspective. And one thing I will say is Cantona really he saved us, man, because it was originally going to be like multiple metas for the brawl. I'm so glad you said something, dude. I immediately like jumped onto what he said. I was like, this is a great idea, and I backed him up. And Kabam like actually listened and changed. That surprised me. So that was really cool. And I still remember like I got there a bit early and it was really cool because this was the first time I got to bring my girlfriend to an event and like introducing her to everyone. It was really interesting to just kind of like bring her into our world. And I still remember the first day, like we got there at like noon, and I tried to kind of have the first day kind of focus on her before like we get to all the craziness because I know it's going to be busy and just
Yeah.
I don't want her to be too bored. So we went to the aquarium, and that was just like a ton of fun. And then we got back to the hotel, and I think we went to like this grocery store that was right next to it. And well, speaking of, the hotel was just incredible. Kabam put us up into like these. It was like a suite. It was really nice. And so me and my girlfriend are walking back to the hotel, and in the lobby, there's like just a glass door, and there's just these two guys there, and like one starts pointing at me, and I look to my girlfriend like, I don't know who these guys are, but like they must recognize me, right? So we get in there, and it's actually Cantona and Liam. So that's just how like I met them. It was really really cool, just meeting so many people for the first time. Some of you guys, Truth and Puppy, I didn't meet you guys before. That was great. Um, just so many people coming up to me, introducing themselves, taking a picture. Like it was just from that aspect, from the community aspect, it was just such an incredible time. I feel like for the first half of it, like I was so focused on the tournament, I didn't really get to have as much fun with the fest side of things. But like once I was out, thanks Cantona, then I got to got to enjoy like the Summoner Fest side of things more, which was fun. Like go around, do everything, spin the wheel, got some great stuff. So like I had a really great time, and it's so different. Like here at home in my office making videos, like I just feel like I'm at war with Kabam. They go down to their offices and like there's no war. It's completely all peace. Like they're so nice and so different in person. It's completely different, and it's really nice. I am feeling a lot better about the game going forward, I would say. Yeah, I'm really excited to hear everybody else's thoughts and opinions. So yeah.
Yeah, man, they've said a lot of what happened at the brawl. It was a great time. I got to meet a ton of people, and I think I'm probably in more of these line chats than anybody here. I talk to like everyone, so I knew like the majority of the people there. I had people coming up to me who were just like, "Oh yeah, you planned for me in an alliance like 5 seasons ago," and I'm like, "Oh, okay," you know. And it was pretty cool to see all those people. And I spent a lot of my time at the Beat the Boss because I got robbed day one, and then I had to get my get back day two. Um, but yeah, no, it was a great time seeing all the people, joking around. It kind of just it felt to me like I don't know how you guys felt, but it felt to me like it was just kicking off with like buddies that you've like known for years, but like haven't seen in person for like in a long time. It just was like, yeah, just picked up immediately. Good vibes, good times. And we all went out on that first night, and I like before we even went to the brawl, and we all just had a pretty good time. I know you guys went out on Thursday night as well, so I'm sure that was pretty fun too. But it's I think I'm liking how the game looks going forward in terms of the game modes aspect from what they showed at the brawl. You know, um, I think it was Coliseum. I think that's what it was. Coliseum looks pretty fun. Always fun to take out another week of AQ. No, we do not like AQ. Um, and as for the arcade mode, I know people gave a lot of crap to the like kind of auto clicker thing that was the Fantastic Four one. I actually really like this one. It's kind of like a rhythm game, which I don't know. Rhythm games are fun as its own game mode. I like a lot of these like little concepts they've been coming up with as it comes to not relating directly to like high tier rewards. Like it's its own little game. It's fun. And but yeah, as for the actual content of the brawl, I thought it was very well done. And, major credit to Dork and Mike for the 2 straight days of just grinding content.
Yeah.
And last thing I'll say is similar to what Cantona said. You know, I know a lot of these devs. I've like talked with them online chats or on Discord or whatever, and specifically like with non-fintech, I've been talking with them for ages. So getting to meet them and have conversations with them and just joke around with them as like actual people, as opposed to, you know, you work on this game that I'm so heavily criticizing every day, right? It was a much different experience, and I got to enjoy that. So.
Right. Right. Yeah. So going back to the past 3 months, I've been very critical, and you guys have only seen a portion of it. I along with Lags, I'm a part of the CCP, and in the CCP we do have direct access to a lot of the devs and a lot of the people involved, including Crashed, including Mike, including everybody that you could guess, that's a part of Kabam, and they were very well aware that I was very unhappy as a large spender in the game. So as I approached uh, the Sunburst Fest, it was, hey, how do you guys make sure that my investment is valued? And I was going to Fest, expecting to be given a treatment that would show me that of course my investment was valued. So when I arrived in Vancouver, it was great. Friday night, I went out to dinner with Lags and the rest of the four Lokians. Lags, what do we have, like 15 people out there? It was crazy, and got to hang out with them.
There's a lot.
Again, yeah, it was a lot. Yeah, and hang out with my friends, most of whom I've seen a few times in person already. So that was absolutely fantastic. And it was all about community when we arrived in Vancouver till when we left. When we arrived, we had dinner on Friday night. We went to the bar. And I got to meet Truth in person. I got to meet Puppy in person. I got to meet Cantona. Got to meet all these people that I have been talking to over line chats, I've seen over streams, never talked to in person, and that was absolutely fantastic. The first day of the Summoners Fest, I'll never forget this. But a family came up to me, mother, father, and son came up to me, and they came up to me and they said, "Hey, Yusafa, just want to let you know we watch your videos all the time. We think you're great. Would you mind us taking a picture with you?" And I got to take a picture with this family, and it just really it warmed my heart. And I know it happens to Lags all the time, but it doesn't happen to me all the time. So it felt really special. Now I was so busy during Summoner Fest because Kabam was definitely trying to spend a lot of time with me, which was great. And I didn't get to see a whole lot of the brawl, which is unfortunate. I was able to catch a little bit here and there, but all the other times I didn't make it into any of the panels that they were putting on while the brawl was going on. I was busy in the entire 2 days while I was at the fest. So that was fantastic. And I was having one-on-one conversations with Kabam developers, with Crashed, with other people, in order to answer more and more questions with regards to where the future of the game is going, and whether or not there is a future of the game. And I was able to ask a lot of questions that I'm not really able to just talk about here, um, and try to get some sort of insight on if an issue is not being fixed, then why, and if what timelines of that is going to be. And really it was to get more information on, is this game still being invested in? Does Kabam still support this game? Is there a future of this game? And is a special is our conversations happening at Kabam that take the community in mind, all of their issues and stuff. Kabam Crash definitely put out that message on November 13th, talking about all of that stuff that was not addressed at Summers Fest, like AI or the Titan crystals or X, Y, and Z. And those are all based upon conversations that I know the developers had with the community members, maybe not during the live stream, but they were walking around and they were making sure that they get all of the major concerns from a lot of the CCPs as well as the rest of the community members, including myself, and making sure that they were addressed as much as possible. Now, the rest of the community is not going to it wasn't privy to those conversations, but trust you me that all those conversations were being held with the developers, with the Kabam team, and they are well aware of the plight that is is infecting the community right now, and they are trying to address it as fast as they can. Overall, I had a great time.
Again, that's kind of what I expected to hear from us all, right? All the stuff aside, the thoughts and feelings, etc., as you go into it, you know, you hit that word community, right? We've talked about that before. What's kept us around this game? What's kept us engaged in this game? What's kept us going in this game? 9 times out of 10, you're going to hear community, and this event absolutely tied right into that. I mean, it was a fantastic time. High fiving. I did a lot of hugging, and I have not been healthy since. So I'm definitely blaming all of you guys for why I'm still sick. It has nothing to do with me.
It was Abdo. Abdo carries all the diseases. So
Yeah, I'm not shocked. You know how those guys are from
Blame
Washington.
Abdo.
I know how it goes.
yeah, blame Abdo.
Yeah, I'll blame Abdo. Good stuff to hear. I like where we're at. I do, to the point that Cantona made and kind of have been made throughout, right? There were a lot of private conversations had, right? Things that the majority of the community will never be privy to. And so within reason, and I'm very, very glad that Crash put that post out, because that was kind of where the conversation with he and I left off of what are the biggest pressing things for the game, which I said was technical stability, right? The bugs and the AI are just making it a not fun playing experience for most people. I mean, even during the tournament themselves, right? You guys had an auto draft. That was a crack up.
Yeah.
We're just sitting there watching it happen. You see
I
the
got a
auto
black
draft
cat.
take place. You see the disconnects take place. And yeah, that can lead to a lot of aggravation. Now we'll open it up. I'm going to get you guys back into the round robin here as we go to move to look forward, but we're going to open it up and just what are some of the things that we can share from those conversations, or that we're willing to share that are, you know, reasonable and we're not violating anything? What are some of the pieces of information or some of the things that were announced that bring you a sense of good, positive moving forward, that we're looking like we're in a good spot?
So I definitely had you know, one-on-one conversations, and one of the conversations that I can reveal, because Crashed has gone ahead and published it. One of the conversations that we did have with him was that the Titan issue is going to grow, and they understand it, and they are actively working on finding a fix for the Titan crystal issue. So what he put out in the post was pretty much true, what he said in that conversation, and we went into a little bit more depth about what the mechanisms are that Kabam had to go through in order to fix that. He understands it's going to be a growing issue. They're working on a fix, and hopefully it'll be out by the end of the year. But they had been thinking about it for quite some time, and they were just trying to find the best way in order to get a fix out. So that was one of the first.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Forgive my ignorance. What issue? I'm like missing something.
Yep. So so the big spenders, and actually not even just the big spenders. I mean, Lags is seeing this too. It's gotten to the point where people have SIG 200 champions that are currently in the Titan Crystal, and spending 20,000 Titan shards to get 1,200 in return does not feel good. It is the worst. It is the worst investment ever. And so what people are doing, what more and more people are doing across the community, is they're not opening Titan crystals, which is counter to what Kabam wants people to do. They want them to open the Titan crystals. Those are supposed to be the premier crystal shards, the premier heroes. But if people aren't opening them, then there's something wrong with the crystals themselves. And so the problem is that when you open up a 7-star crystal, or if you receive a 7-star champion from a crystal, doesn't matter if it's Titan, Basic, or any of the other Paragon crystals, whatever we have, the game has no way of identifying where that 7-star was obtained from. So if you open up a 7-star crystal out of the basic pool, it gives you 1,200 Titan shards if it is SIG 200. It doesn't matter if it's the basic pool, the Titan crystal, or any other crystal. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to put some mechanism in place, and so that it will identify when you dupe a 7-star crystal and then give you something more than 1,200 Titan shards. And that way people will be more apt and willing to open up and dupe those crystals in the Titan crystal. So they are trying to work it. They do see it's an issue, and it's going to grow with every day that passes as more Titan shards and 7-star basic shards are released.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I'll go next.
Yeah.
I think the main two people I spoke to was Kabam John and Kabam Zen, which John essentially was overseeing the brawl. He obviously that's
Yeah.
obviously not his main job at the company, but his main job there was oversee the brawl, make sure everything runs as smooth as possible, which he did, I would say, very well, especially
Yeah.
after some of the
I did
issues
a
he
good
got
job.
through at a minute's notice. Like I remember there was the whole thing of on the second day, all of our accounts got switched due to some
Dude,
Mhm.
yeah.
very strange reasoning, and he was literally just there like, uh-oh, and he like essentially sat down on the spot, got the computer out, and started working through whatever. Like he was on a minute's notice, making sure things was fixed. I think Zen especially is the one I wanted to zoom in on. Which, for those who don't know who Zen is, he is essentially the person who created Battlegrounds initially. From what he told me, he doesn't really work on it much now, but he was the initial Battlegrounds creator,
That's his
or one
baby.
of the main creators. Yeah,
Yeah.
he called it his
Yeah.
baby to me.
Yeah.
And when I was talking to him, because we had a pretty long conversation on the Saturday and the Sunday, but more the Sunday, he was it literally he was like, I'll give you my Discord. Send me what you think is wrong with the mode, what you would like to see, how you think it could be fixed, why you think it's going wrong, and I will get back involved myself and pass it on to the people who are currently working on Battlegrounds. And like just that experience of essentially, even though it is his baby and the company he works on, even he was saying this is not where I wanted it to be, which was quite an open moment compared to quite a lot where we've seen where there was a lot of an attitude of, oh, everything's fine, we've got everything under control. Meanwhile, he was like, yeah, I don't like where it currently is, so please, like, I'm open to help, which was quite a big thing about it. So I've already sent him one or two things, just like very minor details, more especially related to the brawl format and why I mostly liked it. But I know I'm going to be sending him a lot more stuff coming up of like what I think should be changed, additional things that I think they should look at adding, why it's currently, because Battlegrounds is probably in one of its worst states at the moment, so
Yeah.
it needs
Yeah.
some help. But I'm glad that he is open for this help because it's very different to the rhetoric that a lot have been going with.
Cantona, do you see Battlegrounds persisting as the premium game mode in the game, or do you think that that the Coliseum could potentially take over that, or do you see Battlegrounds as being, persistent as the premier game mode?
I if in its current state, no. In its current state, I think Coliseum could overtake it, or this
Fortress Assault?
battle for Fortress Assault.
Fortress
That's
Assault?
it.
Yeah,
Or
Fortress
that
Assault
could
has
overtake,
potential.
but that if it's in its current state, then that will happen because I mean you're seeing it now. If you track the Battlegrounds numbers for the last years, you will see a very steep decline.
Yeah.
But if they are open to feedback, if they are open to actually then implementing the changes within reason, I think the core community that goes to Battlegrounds that sees it as the premium will not switch if they feel like they are being listened to. It's going to be the answer to most things today. Is will Kabam actually do what they say they're going to do?
Yeah.
And if they do, I think BGs will stay the top premium solo mode.
Yeah, I was talking to Kabam Zen a lot as well on the Sunday night, and he was saying that like when Battlegrounds started, there's four main aspects to it: is like skill, roster, knowledge, and like time invested or something like that. And he wanted to return Battlegrounds to respecting each one of those 4 points equally. But like right now, obviously, there's a lot more weight on like roster, for example, out drafting people than like skill can make up for in a lot of cases. So hopefully, like hearing Cantona say that he's telling him all these ideas like that gets me excited. That's good.
Yeah.
Hopefully they listen and implement them.
Now, Lags, you've been big on the esports aspect of this game, and this is something I don't have much familiarity with. In
Yeah.
terms of the rest of the game, or just the game in general, is there esports application beyond Battlegrounds, or is that the primary place that you see this taking place?
Oh yeah, I think there's definitely beyond Battlegrounds, and I think Fortress Assault, hopefully if it's good, could have some potential for that as well. But like yeah, like imagine like just on stage you could like plan out like a little alliance war map that your opponent has to fight. You pick out champions, nodes, and then your opponent has to deal with whatever they give you. You come up with a team. Like that's just off the top of my head right now. I could think of this game is so big. There's so many different aspects. You could come up with all kinds of ideas and different modes for tournaments. There's so much potential I think Kabam could tap into.
Yeah,
All right,
the big thing
Puppy.
that has. Oh,
No,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
I'm sorry.
No,
No,
Yusafa, take the ball. Keep going.
no. The big and I want to get Lags' perspective on this, and Puppy and Cantona's, but um, one of the things that I'm actively tracking is really how Ascension and collectives impact competitive modes, such as
Okay.
Fortress Assault or Battlegrounds. Are you guys concerned about those special bonuses that collectives are going to give to that competitive gameplay?
Mm, I mean, my account's like fairly developed, so I feel like
Yeah,
it would probably be a benefit to me. But either way, I'm not really too worried. Whatever it
yeah,
is, even if I'm not there, it's just something to grind towards. Just
yeah,
can always need more stuff to grind towards.
yeah.
Yeah.
For smaller accounts, though, I'm kind of worried about the free to play or the casual spenders. I could see how their
Yeah,
smaller accounts could be negatively impacted.
for sure. It definitely depends how Kabam implements it and like how impactful these bonuses are gonna be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
And
think
think
then
Ascension will have the same impact as whenever we move to a new rank will, there's going to be this huge gap. The game will always favor the said spenders.
yeah,
That's a given. I think collectives is the more interesting one, like, because it's going to be purely a numbers game. Is it like a 1% crit increase, which isn't much, or is it going to be like when you get to the top levels, is it going to be some like genuinely significant bonuses that like will incentivize me to rank up my like some of these different champions that are these like collective captains that they talked about. But Ascension, I think it's a given that smaller rosters will be badly affected, which
yeah.
I mean it's a bad thing to say, but that's the way the game goes. Collectives, though, I think is going to be a lot more of a numbers game when it actually comes out.
Yeah, my issue, it's not even an issue. It's more of a how is it implemented type of thing with the collectives. Is there's like, you have people like FinTech who are constantly buying 2-star crystals to get every single version of a 2-star. So to Cantona's point, if there's like an actual like noticeable effect, it almost becomes the same as Ascensions of,
Yeah.
it becomes whaling, right? Because I know FinTech said he spent like an absurd number of units and like those solo crystal things on 2-stars. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. I could find it, but it's like if that becomes that for 2-stars, let alone 3 and 4-stars, because I don't know about you guys, but I don't really open crystals that even have those champs anymore, right? Like my Paragon crystals aren't giving me 3-stars, so I'm like missing a ton of the new 3-stars, and even some of the 4-stars. I don't have a lot of them, but like I got all the 5-stars, all the 6-stars, all the 7-stars. So
Yeah.
I,
I mean,
I
the
yeah.
the collectives will only be the champions, the top rarity of each individual champion. So, I don't know if the 2-stars or 3-stars or 4-stars or 5-stars or 6-stars are even going to play a factor into the
Yeah.
collectives. But yeah, I'm with Cantona. I'm thinking, it depends on how they roll it out. Depends on what the individual bonuses are per rank of your collective. I think it's
Yeah.
going to be interesting, and whether or not they allow it to apply to competitive game modes like War or Battlegrounds.
I think it
I
applying
mean,
to war makes more sense and isn't as impactful. War is a game mode that is inherently based off of the whole, max rank, max boost, max masteries, max everything. Like, so I think something like that where it's like, hey, I ranked up, say Bastion, right? Bastion's super popular right now. So I maxed out everything related to Bastion and now my collective makes him stronger. I think that's not a big deal. But when it goes to Battlegrounds, it's a lot different when you have to do it with 30 different champs. So
I mean, that's so real, but this is where we come to a little bit of crashing down. And before I go too far down that road, we have the reality of upcoming monetization, right? And we are dealing with an organization that is fantastic at applying pressure into monetization. So I would be shocked if collectives didn't affect battlegrounds, et cetera, right? Because there's going to be some subset of motivation or leverage over each player group to get them into wanting to actually do that and prioritize it. Now, before we go too far down this road, though, I just want to go back to the question that we were talking about, which was, is there any other conversations, pieces of information, things that came out from the Brawl time before we start looking forward to game modes, etc., that we want to share here with the people who weren't there, who weren't privy to those things, and to let them know kind of where the mindset, heart set of Kabam is at right now. And specifically, I think everyone else kind of addressed it, but Puppy, if you have anything, drop it. Otherwise, anyone else, it's open to you as well.
yeah, I didn't have any private conversations to the degree that Cantona Lags or Yusafa might have, right? Being an active part of the brawl is a lot different than just showing up and having fun. Because I had some like prior conversations with people, I got to get some, some insight and some things I can't really talk about. But just I think it's important for people to know how much the devs actually do care about the game. There's a lot of just hate given around. And so it's like, you know, it's a corporation. So obviously there's going to be some aspects where it's like, we care about money more than you. That's kind of just how the world works. So, but a lot of these devs, specifically the ones who play the game and the ones that I am aware of, they still care about people, and it's not like they're sitting here being like, oh yeah, let me sit back in my pile of gold type of thing. So I don't know. I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't have a ton of like private conversations like the other guys did.
There
One of
was one.
oh,
Oh,
sorry.
go on. You go. You go first.
So it was very interesting. I had not realized this. I'd been up to Kabam a couple times, but I had not realized this. I got to spend quite a bit of time with Twice Cooked Bread, who I had never talked to before. It was the first time I met him this past fest. Very great guy, very smart guy, and he's part of the game design team, or the lead of the game design team. Very articulate, very nice, very considerate. So I spent a lot of time with him, and I spent a lot of time with Crashed, and the heads of the other departments, and Kabam. The way that they operate this game, it's very I don't want to say stovepiped, but it is very segmented across departments. So we've got Twice Cooked Bread, and they're doing the game design, and they're trying to figure out, new game modes to place in the game, or what the next level rarities are going to be, or ascensions, and blah blah blah. And then once they design those game modes, then they hand it over, and it's now in charge. And now it's Crash job in order to determine the best way to roll it out, do the monetization, and that sort of stuff. So it was great to hear the aspects of how the game is built and delivered from the different department heads and who's in charge of what. Um, a lot of the stuff that Twice Cooked Bread is in charge of. He does a lot of the engineering and the design and that kind of stuff, and then it's handed over to another team to execute. You've got live ops, you've got Crash team, and they do a lot of the day-to-day operations of the game. So it was interesting to hear those conversations. I'm totally 100% with Cantona. Everybody seems to be really love their job. Think that they really are committed to delivering the best product available to the community. And there was zero malice or zero zero intent to screw over the community that I was able to see from everybody that I met. Everybody was absolutely 100% genuine.
Yeah. There's one thing that I want to mention quickly, but I'm actually going to throw it back to Truth to explain, because I wasn't actually able to attend what it was. It was the whole. They said they would upload them to YouTube. I'm not sure if that's happened yet. I don't think it has, unless it somehow just didn't appear for me. Yeah, okay.
The dev Q&As.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dev Q&A 1 happened towards the end of first day of Brawl. So I stepped into it late. I go into the room, I look forward, and I'm like, oh wow, there's a lot of people in here. And I turn around, and Truth's face is like thunder, and I'm like, uh-oh, this is a fantastic sign, something has gone horrendously wrong here. Step out after, and it was essentially the questions were very. I think the word that was used a lot was like squiffy and very.
Fluffy.
Wait.
Just like one of the questions
very
was stuff
fluffy.
like, "Who is your least favorite chat?" Like these are not the things we need to be asking the devs at such a crucial
Right.
time. Which
Wait, what?
Yeah.
the Saturday night, we go to the Saturday night. We're at one of the places everyone met up, and there was me, Truth, Crashed, Zen, and there was a few others around the table as well. And essentially got post them of these questions that were answered in the dev Q&A one. Like, what was that all about? And Crashed essentially shot back at us that those were the questions they was genuinely genuinely given from the community, and even they were surprised at how non-confrontational it was. So then me and Truth saw this and was like, okay, this can't stand. Went in on day 2, wrote down a lot of questions on these little sheets they was giving, because you had to give the questions in beforehand, it wasn't a free-for-all. And I wasn't able to attend the second Q&A, but Truth, you did, and you told me a bit about what happened, but I'll let you say about how it
What did you write down? What were some of the questions?
There was over 20 questions between us, I think. It was, we fully went through it.
Like some Dark
but
Phoenix
yeah, it's
rebalance
fun.
stuff?
We got into
Yeah,
balance a
well,
little bit.
Rebalance
I don't
was
know that
fun, yeah.
anyone explicitly put down Dark Phoenix because I figured they would just drop that question. We asked about champ balance. We asked about anti-cheat. We asked about
Okay.
how they approach game modes and stuff like that. But to Cantona's point, you know, yeah, day one, it was very fluffy. I was pretty upset when I was in there listening to those questions. And I didn't realize, again, it was made clear to me on that following night, that it was because they were questions that had been submitted. So I don't know who was submitting questions day one, but you guys got to step your game up next time. 'Cause that's ridiculous. But yeah, between me and Cantona, Puppy, etc., we submitted over 20 the next day. I took screenshots of the 16 that I put in, and they directly answered 13 of the 16. One of them got roundabout answered another way, and 2 they ignored. 1 rightfully so. I know why they ignored 1, because it was about technical stability and bugs, etc., and they didn't have someone in the room to answer that at that moment in time. So it was fair. But it did kind of highlight, I think, one of the weak points that I saw through the weekend, which was communication. Shockingly, communication was a little rough. I heard from some of the brawlifiers, right? Some of the, like, how we're going to approach stuff back and forth, and some communication was sketchy, and hey, don't worry about food. We're going to feed you guys, but then, hey, they're not actually going to feed any of you guys, and that kind of stuff back and forth. So there was some misses on the communication front, and this was one where it was not specifically made clear to me or anyone that I know of that those would be the only questions they would answer. They did not give us any real opportunity for, hey, let me play off that, let me raise my hand, let me have a real open Q&A. The second day, they did also let you submit along the way, so that was a little more helpful. So people could, write down questions as they were answering other questions. But unfortunately, we didn't have Zen or Crashed in there either, so it was kind of a missed opportunity on the dev Q&A between the 2 days. But it also amplifies, I think, to kind of round this question out, the private communications had that should be brought to community light. And I think you guys have painted a good picture of that the people who are there actually do care. They really do. Yes, they're stuck in some corporate overlordship, right? And there's always going to be this drive from the top of, you must turn this thing into this profitable thing and you got to do this thing this way. But the people seemed genuine. They were very open to whatever degree they could be. A lot of those conversations were had in private, but they were people who care about the game. And one big thing that I'm looking forward to most coming out of Brawl, which is going to be the next question. So I'm setting the seed for you guys. What are you looking forward to most? A couple of things that stuck out to me was that Kabam listened. We so many times in the past, we kind of get spoken at, right? We get spoken at. You guys are kind of too dumb to understand how this thing works. We know how things are. We know how things should be. So you exist in it and say, thank you, can I have another? And these conversations we had there, you guys are describing with, the Brawl and the metas and all that kind of stuff, getting the finals shifted to best of 7, some of the other interactions to what Crashed addressed later. Kabam listening felt like a step in a positive direction, and I am very much looking forward to seeing that continue. Even as much as the infamous Kabam dork response to the Twitch drops, and then him coming in and apologizing later for approaching things that way was pretty fantastic. It kind of warms my darkened soul to see that there's potentially a glimmer of hope there at the end of the tunnel, that we might actually be able to engage in this thing meaningfully as a community and impact the game that we play overall. So with that said, we're back into round robin, back in going alphabetical order for a minute. What are you most looking forward to coming out of Summoners Fest?
I think I'm holding my. It's the thing I'm most looking forward to, but it's the thing I'm holding my breath on the most at the same time. It's, will they actually continue to listen or continue to keep the open dialogue? I mean, Colosseum, Fortress Assault sound fine, but that's. I mean, it doesn't matter what you bring if what you already have is broken and not working. I think that they need to, this open dialogue that they created with Summoner Fest, if they keep it open, that will be the best thing heading into 2026. If they then cut it again, shut it down, start, doing the whole "we know better than you" thing, then there's no response there. It's just, they need to keep this open, and if they do keep it open, there is enough people in the community, there is enough people willing to give ideas, willing to work with them, that it should be the best thing that happens to the game.
What about you, Lags?
Yeah, I completely agree with everything Cantona just said. So yeah, what he said. But from a more just like in-game perspective, I would say Fortress Assault for sure. I'm really looking forward to just a new game mode and just something new to stream. To just have fun on stream playing. Like right now, I'd say Battlegrounds the most enjoyable and most entertaining thing right now to stream for MCOC. But it'd be nice if there was something else, a whole new game mode. I think it has potential, and I'm just excited for next year's champions. I guess we already got Blue Marvel confirmed. Doctor Strange rework. I'm definitely excited for that.
I'm in a weird position. I'm not sure what I'm looking forward to. As I said before, I did like a lot of the things that they put out. But what Lag said, I like Fortresses. It sounds fun. It sounds like an interesting game mode. I there's a part of me that is struggling right now still with the game, even with all the commentary and everything that we've talked about, where because of what Cantona said, where everything is still kind of messed up and there's still a lot of these old game modes that are struggling, there's still all these old bugs. I have trouble getting excited when it seems like these issues aren't getting fixed. And this at least gave me insight into that they're trying, right? It's not a like, we forgot this, we don't care. It's nothing like that. So I'm not sure if there's anything in particular I'm looking forward to other than continued open communication, which I think they've started to do, but I would like to see more genuine communication with the community, even if it's, I know they do a lot of communication within the CCP, even if it's just making a little bit of that external. So
It's not
that's
much.
what I look to most.
It's not much.
Yeah.
It's not much. So taking a different perspective, I of course the game modes and new champions and all that is great. It does show a future for the game. It's fantastic, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. But as I said before, as I was going into Summer's Fest, I wanted to see if Kabam could make me feel special. And what they did do is they did take some of us high spenders of the game aside and spend some time with us to talk about what they are going to do in the future with regards to honoring and valuing the spend that these high spenders are providing. And they did provide us kind of a roadmap of what they wanted to do in order to make us feel valuable. And they also provided a timeline with regards to make us feel valuable. Now, the question that I have in my mind now that we're 2 weeks removed from Summoners Fest is, were those conversations lip service, or are they actually going to follow through on what they promised? And don't even think that I haven't thought that we have Cyber Weekend coming, which starts tomorrow, as well as Banquet that's going to happen in December, where they give me lip service in order to get my investment for those next 2 months, and to get money out of me. And then once Banquet happens, after that's over, then they're like, oh, we don't have to worry about this until Brad raises a stink next October, um, which this whole thing started. So I've thought of that, and you know, I that I have the timeline that they gave to us high spenders, I'm going to hold them to that. So I'm looking forward to them actually coming and coming true to their word with regards to what they communicated to us as the high spenders, to give us that extra feeling of value to the game for the money that we spend. So that's what I'm looking forward to, Truth.
Now, I think I'm going to know the answer to this one because I feel like it's been hit on already, but I have to ask the question. Biggest concerns coming out of Brawl?
Okay. I mean,
I'm
it's
not
kind of
first.
my same answer. Not to be boring, but will you do any of this? Will you care? Like, not will you care, but will you keep the open dialogue? If they close that dialogue, it's, I mean, not to go all game sense, but it's GG's. Like, it's game over at that point if they close the dialogue back down. We're right back before Brawl. None of it mattered. The only thing we got from it was the friends we met along the way, which, hey, pretty good thing. But but like if that's the only thing we break out of it, the people will take that and then not care about you because you don't seem to care about us if you close the dialogue down again. But I don't think they will. Not because I'm an optimist, because I'm pretty pessimistic, but more because of the amount, like the absolute volume of people saying to open a dialogue. Like, it was pretty unanimous. You need to open up, So, like, if they then choose to not open up, they are, I mean, they are doing a disservice to themselves. That would be like, even by some of the decisions that Kabam have made that people don't agree with, that would be like a very silly thing to do at this point.
Yeah, well said. Completely agree with everything you said. And yeah, just my biggest concern is that they're just gonna keep pulling the same BS things they've been pulling, like with Spider Woman's rebalance, and then pulling it back. I want Kabam to. My biggest concern is like they're just scared to balance the game and to rebalance certain champions that come out and are more powerful than others. But then at the same time, some champions are totally okay to get the axe. It just doesn't feel at all like the definition of the word balance. So I'd say that's probably one of my biggest concerns, just the way they approach the balance of the game. Um, and I don't want them to keep screwing up and keep continuing to piss off the community, because I feel like that's the only way this game really dies. They keep screwing up the way they are, and just the community gets sick of it. If they don't do that, if they literally just don't do that, this game can survive for many more years, and this game has so much potential. So I'd say that's my biggest concern. They're just going to keep squandering the game's potential.
Yeah, I mean, in the last question, I kind of raised more concerns than I did benefits, but it's pretty much what Yusafa said, right? Is it lip service? Is this a waste of time? Or are you just trying to get my money? And so if it's just that, I mean, maybe we won't know immediately, but I think around the halfway point of next year, maybe come July 4th, we're probably
We'll
gonna
know
have a
by
pretty
then,
good idea.
for sure
Yeah,
by
yeah,
then.
yeah. And by then, if we're not fixed, I don't. I'm not sure how it's like it's to Cantona's point. It's almost, am I too pessimistic for like being like, yeah, it's like, you know what, it happens, so what, I guess. But I don't know. I really want things to succeed, but my current hopes, even despite the Brawl being a great event, I'm pessimist by nature, so I'm still a little uh, down on it.
Yeah. I mean, biggest concern for me is, I mean, realistically, guys, this is an 11-year-old game. It it started 11 years ago. They haven't changed the engine which drives this game. You've got some really old code that a lot of the new updates, new modes are being built upon. making changes to this game is extremely difficult. Any change that they make has to go through extensive regression testing in order not to introduce new bugs, which they sometimes are successful at. It's a very complicated, very intricate, very involved platform that they're trying to run. Now, I'm concerned that what we have coming up, what they have announced, if it all comes to pass. We've got Coliseum that's happening later in December. We've got Collectives that is going to be introduced in the spring. So when we say spring of 2026, everybody just please assume it's going to be May, as late as you can deliver in May.
Yep.
You've got Ascension, 7-star Ascension coming. You've got this new mechanic called Might. There's going to be bugs. There's going to be things are going to happen. But depending on how they deliver all these changes that they announced over the past couple of weeks, and whether or not they're able to deliver it, and when there are bugs and mistakes delivered when these new modes are released, these new systems are released, if they have open communication with regards to how they're addressing those issues and bugs that happen with these game modes. We all remember when Battlegrounds was released. It was not perfect. There were a lot of mistakes and a lot of bugs that they needed to get fixed. But I felt like they were relatively good with open communication with regards to how they're going to fix it. They need to maintain that communication. They need to work quickly and not blame anything other than their own ability to deliver this game, because that will kill the player confidence more than anything by them blaming something else.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. In one of the conversations I had, kind of one of the things I noted was, the removal of the rebalance program, which they were looking at it as like, well, once a month we have to go potentially upset all these people. And so why would we want to do that to ourselves? And I said, well, yeah, but just removing any expectation of communication and turning it back into we do what we want, when we want, how we want is not a step in the right direction. Like, let's be honest with ourselves here. It's not a step in the right direction. More actions, owners, and dates, some reasonable degree of transparency. And to your point, Yusafa, we worked to execute this, and it turns out we had to push this out because of X, Y, and Z. Done. It doesn't have to be the end of the world, but you also can't just be working in a black box and, again, just rolling stuff out willy-nilly with no communication, minimal testing, etc.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
So let's, as we're moving forward, appreciate that insight. We have the most obvious next thing up. So where are your guys' heads? And we're just going to go back to opening it up now. Where are you at with Cyber and Banquet? Interested in participating? Not interested in participating? Don't really care? Where are you at?
I've seen
For
the
me,
Odin.
yes,
Has everyone
yeah,
here seen the Odin?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
We
pretty
saw
good.
the clip, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
assuming that's legitimate.
Yeah, especially compared to the Heatwave Odin. When you look at them side by side, it's pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Puppy, though. What were you going to say?
No, I'm gonna be honest, I forgot. So if you got something, go for it.
Oh, no, that's all I had.
I think for me, I mean, I have the pretty unique position of I have the units from Brawl. That
How many did
does
you
give
get?
me- I ended up getting 150,000.
Ooh,
That's what
okay.
we got
Wow.
to.
Very nice.
Wow.
It essentially gives me a pretty unique position of I don't need to spend for a couple of reasons. One, I can just dump. I mean, what is cyber usually 40k units, something close to that.
36.
Sometimes it's still
36,
silver. Yeah. I could spend that and still be more than fine, so I can get a good chunk of stuff if I want it. But at the same time, if I look at my account right now, because I'm still a heavy BG's player, might be changing slightly, but let's just go with I'm still a heavy BG's player. I have 29 rank 4s. I could have a 30th, I just haven't picked who. Apart from maybe ranking up niche stuff for a specific meta, there is no real reason for me to spend a lot of cash for rank 4s to then use in BGs, because I'm at the 30 cap, Obviously, sure, there could be a meta where like 10 of my rank 4s aren't usable, but like I can't predict that. I'm not going to plan for that. So I have no reason to spend on if this Odin is the correct Odin. I have no real need for those 3 to 4 gems. Sure, I'd like them, but I'm not going to spend the money because I don't need to get them. And as well, it's in a weird spot. I do like that they've slowed with the big sales, that the last few have kind of been a bit slower. You know, they haven't been triple your account progression in one weekend just because Kabam said so. But like, it has now reached the point that rank 4s are at the very end of their lifespan. So I feel like investing in cyber specifically, if you're a person who doesn't just invest in completely everything, probably isn't the greatest move. Banquet, I have always not really liked Banquet and how it is structured, like past the milestones. They might change that this year, but assuming they keep the usual, the milestones cap out at like 18,000, and then after that it's just spend what you want. I might hit the 18,000. I won't spend real money again. You know, it's kind of like a non-answer because I have the unit stockpiled, but spending real money is pretty much off the table for me, unless there is one way I spend, and it's if you put that Scorpion in a way that is only money based in Banquet. If you do that, I'll be annoyed, but I'm still gonna do it because I have no backbone. I would still do it.
That's what they need to get you to spend. That's awesome.
Yeah,
You
if
better
you
be
want
careful,
me to
man.
spend, you have one job.
Better be careful.
They might
I
do
said
that,
the same
dude.
thing about Tigra when she
Don't-
showed up.
Make sure this gets
I
posted
would-
before they make Banquet, bro. Even though
right.
I would be so annoyed if they do that, but I have no backbone. I would still go through with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think my perspective, now that I remember what I was going to say,
There we go.
is that I have like one goal right now in the game for what I want to do. I want to rank up all the champs that I've, played nostalgia, right? My fun champs, I'm ranking up stuff right now. Like I ranked up War Machine after Brawl. That was a fun one.
I witnessed that.
Yeah, that was a good time. I just did Captain America Infinity War. And so I want to rank up Mordo, and I want to rank up Moondragon, and I want to rank up, a bunch of random champs who I think are fun.
Yeah.
So if I go for I don't think I'm gonna go for Banquet. I really don't. I think I'll probably get like the base milestones because I have like 15K units right now, so I could get those pretty easily. But as for like the cyber, if I really think I want to rank up these champs now and that I don't think I'll get them later, which seems unlikely, right? I play in Salty. We're like a top 3 war alliance. We're gonna consistently get a rank 4 every single war season. So it's like, I don't know. I'm not committed entirely to cyber yet. Maybe the deals come out with something and, I get tempted a little too much and then I go like, yeah, why not? But yeah, as of right now, I have no plans to.
Yeah, for me, it really just depends what it all looks like, what Cyber Weekend deals look like, what the banquet looks like, the milestones, the rank rewards. It all just is gonna depend. I'm encroaching on 100K units, so like
Mm.
it gives me the freedom to do what I want in those events. So it just depends how they look. And then when it comes to like spending money on Cyber, every event I look at it is like how can I spend money here to benefit me most? Like if I buy this, can I make a bunch of videos off it? Can I do a video opening it up? Can I do a video ranking up champions? If I can do that, justify it, then okay. So probably will spend a bit on Cyber for that main reason.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to be absolutely truthful because I know that this video is going to post after Cyber Weekend deals are released. So I am going to spend on Cyber Weekend. I am absolutely going to be going to. I think that the rewards that have been shown and the bundles that have been shown so far definitely interest me with regards to how I want to play this game. So I will most definitely spend. Will I open up any crystals? Absolutely not. So any crystals that I achieve from Cyber Weekend, I will hold in my account until after they resolve the 7-star Titan crystal issue. because you definitely do not want to miss out on the increased rewards if they do decide to include increased rewards for opening those Titan crystals. So just let that be known. This is a public service announcement. Don't open if you don't have to. For Banquet, one of the big issues that I came into Summers Fest talking about with Banquet with the Kabam team that I was very vocal about was and Lags knows this, and pretty much the entire community knows this. I had pushed hard for Banquet for years. I mean, and last year really was terrible because I was ranked number 4, and I got 4 through 30 ranked rewards, which really made me mad. And they knew that, and they knew that they had to make a change for those rank rewards. I may or may not have inside information, but I think everybody is going. He does. However, I think when they do finally do announce Banquet to the rest of the community, I think that people are going to be absolutely floored. So I am excited for Banquet. Will I push for the top of Banquet? I mean, I've been number 3. I've been number 4. I don't know, but I will be spending on Banquet. I don't know if it's going to be at the level that I have in past years.
So there's one thing I wanted to kind of jump on there.
Yeah.
About your whole not opening crystals things. Do you not think that Kabam, once they have a solution, they'll like retroactively go from this date? If you got a max sig, like you're gonna get this. You don't think they're gonna do that?
No,
because they did that with 6 stars.
So I kind of know what they're going to do, and they're going to. I can't really say Lags.
I was gonna say maybe you shouldn't. Okay.
Yeah. So I would just recommend that you don't do anything with those 7 stars if you don't have to open them. If you're not chasing a particular champ, just wait until they announce what they're going to do, because I am not confident that they're going to do a retroactive correction. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I'm
okay.
also gonna jump in quickly. And if I see like an hour into Cyber Weekend tomorrow, Puppy send like a screenshot of about 8 new rank 4s, I'm clipping that, sending it to you, Truth, and you better like intersect it straight after he said I'm not committed.
100%.
And just like
100%.
I'm not committed, bang 8 rank 4s.
It'll be like when
don't get on me. I just gotta sync up all my champs, all right?
It'll be like when he said the big thing in the last podcast, which by the way, it was the next day, Puppy. It was the next day.
He manifested that, dude.
He did.
Oh, worst thing I've ever manifested. I hate big thing, bro.
Now, to that, I actually will dive into that here for a second. I know you hate the game mode, but it seemed like more of your frustration with it when we talked about it was tied to how it's actually being rolled out for the holiday season. You want to expand on that?
I think there was ways to go around making the holiday season more fun for the community. If you wanted to go from the point of, hey, it's the holidays, we want you to spend time with your family, we want you to do X, Y, and Z, we want you to play the game still, but we want you to, we want to respect your time. I think that what Big Thing does is, while it does allow you to reduce a lot of the time that you're spending in game and in the game mode, it takes away the aspect to me that is enjoyable. And I know for a lot of other War Alliances is what they like, the strategy among it, the team player aspect where, sometimes you got to split paths, you got to coordinate a little bit. And I get why they're saying they want to do Big Thing, because then you don't have to do that, which means that people can have more time back, right? But to me, it's like I don't know. We talked about this last time. It's like there's like two groups of the player base, right? There's the people who play casually and the people like who are, having fun, want to get time back, want to play the game, like an hour a day, maybe even less. And then there's the people like me who want to spend all this time grinding out and like learning about the game, learn all the interactions, find cool defenders, find cool spots on the map to make something work out. And To me, this game mode lacks a lot of what that is in the game mode. And as for the holiday season itself, I had suggested in like I don't remember if it was on the roundtable. I don't think it was,
I don't think
but
so.
I thought a way we could implement it that might be more interesting and is a little generous, but it's the holiday season, right? Is to give out a certain amount of radiance, maybe 200K to players, and then still roll out this game mode, Alliance War, whatever. You could still title chase if you want, like Masters, War Champ, whatever. But the radiance is already given out so that you don't have to, which I know is a little irrespective of like the revenue gain from war each season. But I also think, when it comes to that, big thing doesn't really do that for the top of the game. People aren't dying, moreover, timing out, right? So that's where my aspect of why I dislike the game mode so much comes from.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Sorry for that coughing spell. I think we're dialed. We're good. I'm sorry, listeners. You have to listen to that garbage. Okay, I appreciate that. I know, Lags, you also mentioned big thing, but basically more of the timing issue than an actual issue with the overall game mode.
I don't mind it personally, especially as someone who doesn't have to plan. I know my officer absolutely hates it, so. But just doing it, it's easy.
Yeah, single
One
fight.
fight. Yeah.
But having Christmas off would be nice. I think we all can agree
we still
with
have
that.
to do it on Christmas. What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I mean, yes, there would have been a 2-week delay in rewards if you go with the solution I'm about to say, but how many people would truly be mad if the current season was the usual 4 weeks, and then I was just looking up on calendar, which might explain why I'm looking like a completely random direction, but a 3-week off season after that would end on New Year's Eve. So you would need a 4-week off season to fully overarch the holiday season, because I know New Year's Eve is also a huge celebration for a lot of people. Would people have really lost their minds over a 4-week off season instead of having to play Big Thing on Christmas Day? Because Big Thing season does land over Christmas Day.
Yeah, that's the
which
problem.
is
Like, what the
very
hell?
strange. So yeah, I feel like, would a 4-week off season really have angered so many, whereas they thought that Big Thing was a better idea? That's like the question I would have posed to them, but well, I didn't get time to at the Brawl, and Big Thing wasn't really on people's minds.
No, I
It was
don't think
on
anyone
mine.
talked about Big Thing the entire brawl.
I know it was on your mind.
Yeah. I do want to go back real quick, and I know this is like way far back. I wish that the dev panels were more talked about while we were at the brawl, because I had no idea when they were happening.
Yeah, I didn't
it's like
see any of them. I was too
it's
busy
on the
anyways.
schedule, but like that's the extent of it. Like they announced a bunch of stuff. It's like, hey, you can
Yeah.
go to this corner to do something. You go to this corner, and then it was like, not only was it over the time that brawl people were playing, but it was also not even announced that it was happening. So
Yeah, you had to be a
I was
nerd like
still
me who
pretty-
had my calendar downloaded onto my phone, make sure I had marked up
Yeah.
when I was going to be where, because we were there on business, boys. Business. We had to be at those
Business.
dev Q&As.
I still think the timetabling was very strange, because especially on the Saturday, there was this. I think it was approximately a 2-hour gap after the brawl finished and before the where they announced the Ascension collectives, all those changes right at the end. There was like approximately a 2-hour gap where there was nothing happening. Like, would it have been such an issue to put it in here? I mean, it was a 1-hour Q&A in a
Yeah.
2-hour slot. Like, was there
Should've.
really such a problem here? The Sunday was a bit more tight timing wise, which makes sense with them wanting to wrap everything up, but still, it was just the Q&A being at the same time as the brawl or at the same time as other events just didn't sit. It didn't sit right with a lot of people, not just me.
Yeah.
It's just a lot like happening. The tournament, Summoner Fest, panels, just like everything.
Oh yeah, it was
It's-
hectic. It was
Yeah.
chaotic. Them 2 days specifically was chaos.
Yeah.
But like good chaos.
But
You
Oh,
know,
it was
I
great
had-
chaos.
I have a funny story of Fest. Actually, it made me feel good. It wasn't it's not necessarily a funny story, but at one point of the second day, I went upstairs to floor 11, right where they had their main offices, whatever. And I was doing a couple of my interviews up in one of their conference rooms, and so I go up and I go do these interviews with Trevor and with Wes in this conference room. And outside the conference room is a group of, I want to say 20 Kabam employees. And they're all crowded around a TV, a monitor, and they're watching the Battle Run Brawl of the competitors going through the Battle Run Brawl, and they're all cheering. They're cheering for, I think it was Andy, and he was going up against somebody else at the time, and it was just amazing to see these Kabam employees and how excited they were with regards to the Battle Run Brawl and these two people, but fighting up against one another. These two community members fighting with one another, and just seeing how there was food, there was pizza, there was whatever, and they were part of the game at that time, and it made me feel good to know that these guys who work at Kabam are not only employees, but they're also fans of the community. So it warmed my heart seeing that.
Yeah, I haven't. Legacy was the only other person who saw it as well. Because me and Legacy played first, and it dropped at a time where they did take us upstairs to the floor 11 to get some food.
Yep.
And it was during.
Oh, that food was not good.
Oh, I didn't have it but not because I knew
Dude,
it was
yeah.
bad. I'm picky about food.
Me and my girlfriend talked about it, like how Cantona made the right choice, just passing. It was, dude, no.
I'm very picky on food, so I saw it and I was like, I'll just go to that place. The meat and bread place around there was pretty good. But there was literally just me, Legacy, Legacy's girlfriend, then a couple devs. There was probably about like 6 or 7 of us in the room, and it was Tilapia and HitHack's match, and it was when Tilapia did the infamous Cat Britain versus Atuma fight, and I vividly remember Kabam crashed like jaw just straight up dropping as he was watching the fight. Like pretty much everyone in the room was just stunned into silence at what they were seeing. Like, just like such an unexpected weird moment. Everyone just being like, "Oh, so that's a thing."
Yeah.
Tilapia did some wild work for sure.
Tilapia is nuts, bro. Crazy player.
He is.
Very good. Just a real quick aside back to Cyber and Brawl, or sorry, Cyber and Banquet. Would you guys thumbs up, thumbs down? I think I know what one person's insight's going to be. Here's looking at you, puppy. Champs coming to the game. We've got Scroll and Yondu coming in, both of whom look very interesting from, I think, both just a BG's and general gameplay standpoint. And then we've got Jane, Nimrod, and Valk in the box, and we've got Abs and Kingpin. What do you guys think? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
I like Abs and Kingpin. The rest.
No, I hate both of those. I hate those two.
Yondu and Skrull, I think. I don't know. I had a little bit of a play around with Yondu, because for the Brawl like testing, quite a lot of people was running around with Yondu, just giving him.
He was pretty good. Yeah.
He was fine. The thing that I know this is the point. I know this is completely the point, but the thing for me, it was more like, okay, why am I gonna pick Yondu when I have Future Ant-Man, Starkey, XYZ? Which I get that that's the point. They're not meant to break the game. But like that's the reason I don't really care about either of those two. Nimrod hurts me because I love Nimrod as a champion, but I can already see that Nimrod's existence is kind of outdated, which is
he needed a little buff.
Yeah, I will still probably get Nimrod. I'll still probably have some fun with him, but he's gonna make me sad because I'm gonna get like a load of match and I'll be like, oh, they have Onslaught. That's my Nimrod.
I mean, they did literally make the mutant class and the game anti-Nimrod for like a year after he came out.
Yeah, it's like I like him, but I know he's gonna make me sad. So that's my view on him. The others I don't much about. Abs is probably the only one that I'm looking at, and I'm like, yeah, I would like an Abs man.
But once Scorpion
Dude.
gets announced, you're in.
Oh, if they announce him, then it's
Dude,
no
he's
longer
next.
They
Yeah.
could announce the next two champions as, I don't know, Groot and I forgot the last class, but those two champs, no buff, and I'll be like, yeah, but the Scorpion.
Yeah. Dude, I just give Nimrod plasma. Just
Yeah,
give him
exactly.
plasma.
Dude, why does Jack get that, but he doesn't?
Yeah, exactly.
Nimrod's literally
No,
like
I,
the mutant slayer sent from the future. Like, come on.
yeah.
Yeah, Supernatural Pumpkin is better than Mutant Slayer.
Right?
Yeah. I'm dude, Yondu looks kind of cracked. I can't lie. That champ doesn't look like he can die, you know? Like his
Yeah.
I saw someone recently post a
Yeah.
video of taking Aspect of Evolution Serpent with him, like a 6-star Yondu.
Yeah,
And
he's
it's like,
tanky.
yeah, dude, he doesn't die.
Yeah.
He the weaknesses are very strong. Skrull, you know, you'd think he'd be a champ I'd like, and he doesn't do it for me. He doesn't
Yeah.
I don't get he doesn't excite me at all as a champion. You know, begrudgingly I have not looked at the Thor Jane Foster change, as I kept pulling her when you know, the game was starting, so I don't like her. You know, um Nimrod was one of my favorite champs for a while, but as Cantona said, he's just no way.
Yeah.
You know, all the new mutants, he's just not built for it. Valk is a champ I've wanted for a very long time, and I'm honestly surprised she wasn't a bit sooner. She's very, very good. I don't think, you know, maybe she is on the level of these champs, right? But you know, Kingpin's one of those champs I thought would probably come a bit later, to be honest. Absman, you know, they just released Tigra. I'm not that surprised Absman's next. But yeah, Kingpin is surprising to me. I thought there were several other champs that could have came before him.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm mad. I'm not. Look, let me rephrase that. I'm not mad. I think the champions that they're releasing are great. I think, other than Super Skrull, I really couldn't care about Super Skrull at all. But I'm a little curious. That's a better word. That why did they pick these champions, put them into the gotcha box, and not declare them as ascendable?
Yeah.
Because
Mm.
because they're pushing for people to invest more in the game, in Banquet, in Cyber Weekend, to obtain these champions when they've announced Ascension, and they are not announced as ascendable. So they're essentially selling these champions, and I mean, we all know. I mean, we got Nimrod, we got Absman. I mean, they're not going to make those guys ascendable anytime soon. So they're going to be locked at their you know, again, rank 6 is, you know, the top rank, you know, they can be whatever. So it's still a couple years away, but they should have also announced that these champions that they were releasing were also going to be in the first wave of ascendable champions. So that's why I'm curious why they didn't do that.
That's valid.
I didn't even think
Yeah.
about that. I can't lie.
No, I think that's a very fair point, and that was something that you definitely emphasized in your video. I think that was today. Maybe that was the previous one, but
Yeah.
that kind of undergirds this entire conversation to some degree, as we've been talking about where we were going in, the time that we had, and now as we come out, there are a lot of things we're excited about. There's a lot of opportunity, a lot of potential, and yet it's all undergirded by this uncertainty, right? Are the communications going to continue? What is Ascension going to look like and who it's going to apply to? What is this future actually going to be? Were these actually meaningful words that are going to drive actions, or were they simply words to get us hyped up for a few months? Which has been, at least for my, you know, outside looking in. I've only been in this part of the community for a couple years. In the old days, right, that's what it would be like, right? You would get, here's all your hype messages in May and June, getting you ready for July. And then there would be the doldrums after that, and then your hype messages in October, getting you ready for November, December, and then the doldrums of the next year. Excuse me. And so this undergirding uncertainty of all the things going. So let's get into that a little bit. Let's talk about Ascension. let's talk about, and another thing I want to ask you guys about too, I'm very curious about, is I think a few of you have mentioned Fortress Assault. Do we even have any details on what that looks like? Other
No.
than it's
No.
replacing AQ,
No.
which we all agree is a win. That's good. We
So
take that.
I think like roughly what it'll be is essentially you have your fortress. I think it's gonna be like what bases. Remember they
Yeah, oh,
promised
yeah.
us
Yeah, yeah.
bases so long. I think it's finally kind of that coming to fruition. So you're gonna have your own fortress, and then you're gonna be able to like I think station defenders to safeguard your fortress, and then you're gonna attack other people's fortresses, kind of like Clash of Clans. So like you
Yeah.
attack other people's bases, and then you have defenders set up in your base. So something to that effect is kind of
Mhm.
what I'm thinking.
Now that's your gut,
Yeah.
or that's some potential information that you might know.
I just I don't know. That's what makes sense to me. Fortress Assault. What else like could it be?
That was the same thing I
That's
thought.
fair.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it like it sounded like a yeah. Go for it.
My gut was also leading me towards the this sounds like Clash of Clans route.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just sounds like it's a game mode that's like, you know, I don't even know. It's like you just like capture tower defense type thing. That's
Mhm.
kind of how it sounded to me. But I think there's ways to make it interesting. Like, you know, do you have to fight every single one of them? Do you get to choose like a certain path you get to take down, or like, you know, who's the boss? Can you make it like a non-playable champ? Does it all have to be your own defenders, or are you choosing nodes? You know,
Mhm.
there's interesting ways that it could be applied, and you know,
Yeah.
that type of thing is exciting for me as a war planner. I like the strategy aspect of it.
Yeah, I think it could totally be kind of like more of like a solo alliance war experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That could be
And I
very
think it has a
cool.
lot of potential too. Like if you can really, and Kabam seems to be pushing customization more. Like imagine if you can really customize your base and like put stuff in your base, put achievements like in your base and stuff like that. Like from other aspects of the game too. Like I don't know. I feel like there's just a lot they can do with it.
you know, and that brings back to kind of the accessories that they've been starting to give out recently. You know, it can almost be like secret base type vibes where you're
Yeah.
trying to, you know, make it look pretty, make it design in some way, you know. That appeals to a whole different player base. So I think that'll be interesting to see what they do with that.
Yeah, I'm curious because let's say the Fortress Assault comes out. I'm curious what it would look like, not just the initial season, but about 4 seasons past a Fortress Assault. Because I know Kabam is probably thinking, you know, after 4 seasons or however many seasons after it's launched, everybody's going to have the same base defense, right? I mean, just like
Yeah.
everybody has the same BG decks pretty much now.
Yep.
Everybody uses the same BG decks. Is it going to be the same
Metas.
base defense? Yeah, the metas. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see when it does launch how the community adapts to it and you know normalizes across multiple members. So it's going to be interesting.
That's some really good points. And I've wondered, like, how would you prevent that from happening from everyone just having the exact same base? And one thing I was kind of thinking of was like you could earn nodes and like win nodes then to attach to certain parts of your base. So
Yeah.
like you could make it your own combinations. But of course then maybe once someone finds the best combination, everyone runs that. But I think something
Right.
like that could be cool.
Yeah.
I think inherently with you know competitive game modes, meta's always developed, right? That's not going to
Yeah.
go away. It'll continue to go down that route. It's you know, I think what they can do is something similar to Alliance War, where you develop sagas, or you know
Mm.
maybe every 3 months nodes change and you have to redevelop, right? Because then it's like
Yeah.
you can copy metas, but every single time you're going to find people who, you know, have more knowledge about certain things than the rest and will stand out, and then they'll be able to go farther, right? So I don't know. I think there's ways to play around that similar to what they do with Alliance War to make things continuously interesting. But I really like the idea. You know, this has been one of the things I've wanted for the longest time since playing the game, of being able to custom create your own node. I think that would be so fun, given restrictions, obviously, because, you know, if you're given access to every node in the game, you can easily make things impossible, like
Yeah.
without doubt. So I think that would be super cool. I've wanted that forever. Yeah.
Sounds like potential. I like that. One of the things we've briefly touched on, but I'd like to just dig around people's perspectives, is the big shift in Ascensions, right? We're going away from 8 stars for this moment, and we're going to focus on, what was it? I think they showed 11 levels of Ascension. I think all of that's still kind of in the works. I don't know if it's been settled, this is what it's going to be or what it's not. What's the general feeling on Ascensions and pushing out 8 stars?
So first thing is like I'm glad. I don't want 8 stars anytime soon. Glad to hear about Ascension. Glad to hear about multiple ranks. But then you start to lose me when that you say there's 11 ranks of Ascension. That sounds like way too much. If there was like 5 at most, cool. But 11 just sounds like way too much right now. Kind of where I'm at.
It feels like, when I first heard it, to me, that said, like, oh, that would be the end of the game, right? Because it's like, from the perspective of seeing what happened when 7 stars first got announced, but there was a lot of the player base that was like, I'm out. I'm done. I don't want to be involved. I lost everything that I've been working hard towards. And I think that's probably a part of the reason they don't want to go to 8 stars, but they're kind of still doing similar things, by limiting who can be ascended. It's still kind of like 8 stars, because they've already gotten pretty much all the champs that they're, going to be adding for the near future. Like we're getting down to those champs where it's like, oh, who's next but Hulkling, and kind of out of these other options. I I don't, to Lag's point, 11 is excessive, right? It's like, how many, like, is that supposed to be 4 years worth? Rank ups don't come out that frequently. It's like every 4, 5 months, maybe, that like a new rank will pop out. So I get like the whole extend it into the future, but this kind of goes back to the point I made earlier about sync stones, where it's like we're already starting to get to the point where people aren't lacking the new 7 stars. It's like the old pool, everybody has everything. And so it's like, well, what am I even chasing? For me, as a low spender, not even compared to like any of the high spenders, I have every single champ in the base pool except for one. So it's like I have nothing that I'm desiring from that crystal. I have no reason to open it. I have nothing that I'm looking forward to in that crystal. And I wonder, what this does for that, because then everybody's going to start to get for that and feel that same, like, I don't know what I'm going for in the game.
I think one thing that worries me, and this is purely based on the screenshots we saw, they said there was placeholder show, but it did make me realize an interesting thing of, they said because they're doing these individual character tokens, that you seem to be getting from these things that they called cluster drops that are based on who you pull out of a crystal. They showed Lady Deathstrike as the example, and it made me think. Let's say the first wave comes out, and for the most random pool, say it is the 36 champs that was in the 7-star base pool. Just as an example, and I hope that they create the wave way better than what I'm about to say, but I'm a bit worried because the 7-star base pool had some issues. Say Lady Deathstrike, for example. I pull Lady Deathstrike as my first token, my first ascension, my first champ I can ascend is Lady Deathstrike because I got her individual token. It's not like I get a tech token. Well, they also exist, but you need this individual one. If I get Lady Deathstrike, and someone else gets, say, I'm trying to think of who possibly the best champ is, but I mean, a good example would just, yeah, Chavez would be a good example from the base pool. That is a wildly different ascension to mine. It seems like unless there is something that they haven't announced, it seems slightly luck based on who you get to ascend from the pool. And like at the top of BGs, if I have the ability to ascend Lady Deathstrike compared to if R.E.R has the opportunity to ascend Chavez, I think we know who's getting the better deal here. Like, it does worry me that it will become slightly luck based, and that at the very beginning it will massively affect game modes based on who gets luckier with the token drops. But I hope they do create the pool better than what I just said, because I mean they even showed Cull as an example, like Cull Obsidian versus Lady Deathstrike. That's quite a big difference.
I do want to push back a little on that. It's a gotcha game, I think there being an aspect of luck into this. People pull different champs. My first champ was Terrax. Someone first champ was Titania pre-nerf. It's like we don't get the same champs. So
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, that as long as there's like an equal number of like good versus bad, that you can pull, I don't really see the issue in that. Besides, obviously, I want to get the best, but it's kind of the point of the game is that you're kind of, gambling a little bit.
So
That's fun.
what you
I'm
guys
just
aren't talking.
slightly concerned.
What you guys aren't talking about, though, is probably one of the biggest issues that that Ascension is bringing to the game, and that is how it's going to affect the overall game economy in the near-ish future. Within the next 2 years, we're going to see a very large problem because right now, Kabam will be able to monetize both the Ascension materials as well as the rank up materials, all the way up to 7-star rank 6. Once 7-star rank 6 becomes more prominent and prevalent across the community, then the value of those rank up materials or the ability for them to monetize those rank up materials falls off the cliff with regards to how Kabam is able to raise money. So now the entirety of their ability to raise money to fund this game is going to be around Ascension materials all the way up to Ascension level 11. If they don't find a way to offset that loss in revenue for those rank up materials in a couple of years after everybody has rank 6s out there, then the game is going to be in a pretty weird spot. They're going to have to further monetize and further figure something else out with regards to how they're going to raise that money. So they've got a very large problem, probably in the next 2 years that they have to figure out. So not in the near term, not something we have to worry about within the next couple months, but it is going to impact the game.
I think that's probably a big reason why they're starting to push for more customization.
Could be, yeah. They're trying to figure out new ways to monetize the game. Absolutely.
I remember when the Ascension thing first got announced, Truth and Cantona and I were all at getting some food, right? And so the initial first reaction was like, this is like announcing the end of the game. Because that's how it sounded to me. Obviously, there's an aspect of continuing onwards, maybe eventually get to 8 stars, something like that. But like when you announce something like this that is so like, oh yeah, this is what we plan to do for the next like 3 years worth of content, as like give you Ascension materials, give you like the last couple ranks, and that's gonna be maybe it, maybe some new relics. I'm sure that'll be stuff that they'll promote a lot, but it's like, to me, that was what my initial thought was, because it's just like, well, this is a timeline for how much longer they want to extend out 7 stars, and then they'll try and move to 8 stars, right? So I don't know. I didn't. It had a bad look to me.
Another issue that I'm very interested in hearing y'all's opinion on is there is a possibility that they decide to Ascension lock champions as
Yeah.
opposed to rebalancing them. OP defenders or attackers that are released in the next coming year, they may decide to Ascension lock them and lock them out of particular Ascension levels that all the other champions are allowed to do, as opposed to rebalancing them and nerfing them and keeping them off like the defense meta or stuff like that. So instead of all the way up to Ascension level 11, they could lock them down to like 6 or 5. That to me is concerning, and that to me is also a lazy way of rebalancing a champion, is by restricting their ability to rank up in accordance with how the game is set up.
Yeah, I mean, to me, if they end up doing that, which I agree with waves of Ascension as my first point. I agree with waves. Otherwise, 90% of the champs in the game, people will not care about ascending them, which makes sense. I agree with the wave structure, but if they point blank, say they block out certain champs from, like you said, block them to Ascension level 6, that's kind of them just admitting that they failed to balance the game. If you're having to lock them again while the rebalance program was active, if you then have to lock champions that you said was balanced, you've further admitted the own failure, which I know when we get to level 11 or whatever it is, we're 3-4 years in the future, but like,
Yeah.
the rebalance program wasn't working. Sure, I think everyone agrees on that.
Yeah.
But there still needs to be balance. Just that was not the way of doing it. They still need to balance these champions, and like I agree with you entirely that it's just a lazy way to balance the champions, because you haven't actually balanced anything. You have admitted they are not balanced and then done nothing about it.
I
mean,
wonder how people feel. Sorry, go for it.
No, you're fine. Go with it.
Uh, I wonder how people feel compared to things like 12.0, and these other times when things have been locked, like Quake getting locked as a 5-star, Hercules getting locked as a 6-star, probably others getting locked. I know when 7 stars first came out, they mentioned Kitty was going to get locked because of the damage and vulnerability. Um, I think I've been a proponent for another 12.0 like rework of, there's some things that just clearly don't work, and I get it. You're gonna bother people by changing some of these champs that they've ranked up, but at some point, where do we get to the point of, what, this is what is healthy and this is what we need, as opposed to just, I want to make sure everyone's happy. It's like, I don't know, making some of these decisions, you're gonna piss people off.
I totally agree. We talked about that in some of the previous episodes, right? Of trying to make everyone happy, you'll make no one happy. And that's, you actually were kind of along the same lines of where I was at with Cantona, which is, I personally didn't see that much of an issue with the rebalance program. I think the issue was with how it was used, right? And the issue being like,
Oh yeah.
we're going to use this for balance. And instead of coming out and telling you, hey, Serpent is intended to kick you in the nuts, and that's what he's doing, and we're going to keep it that way, it was like, oh no, he's a good 5 of 5, everything's okay. And just gave us this weird, outlandish measuring stick. They should have just said, hey, he's intended to be a 7. Okay? He's intended to be a boss fight within everything else. And that's what we're doing. And this is what we're putting into the game, because this is what the direction we want to drive. And it's like, you see the same thing as some of the communications, right? Where you just want them to be more honest with us about what they're trying to do, instead of trying to package this thing in a nice little thing to make you feel okay about it. Kind of like Spider-Woman. Hey, we don't like all these things she's doing on defense, but we're also going to alter her offensive capabilities. Like, you could have just said that. You could have presented it that way. You could have presented it any other way than like, oh, it's not really going to impact attack. It's really defense focused. They get so wrapped in kind of like shielding the negative and amplifying the positive as they want us to see it, that we wind up down this road. Even to what you were saying when we kicked off Cantona, which was the Summoners Fest itself was very fun focused, and rightfully so. They're putting on a fun event, having a good time, this great gathering of people and this thing they put on. But it lacked some of the deeper transparency and deeper, like, hey, here are the real issues with this game, and we hear you guys, and we really want to get into the nuts and bolts about how we're going to approach it. And so, I don't know. I'll yap all that to say I don't know what they do about it other than just be honest. Right? I get it. You can't tell everyone everything, but you also don't have to frame things the way you do today. It can just be more open, reasonably transparent. One of the things I talked to Crashed about again was give me timelines. Give me a 6-month, 9-month, 12-month timeline. And then if something falls out of that timeline, just tell us. It's okay. And yeah, people are going to be pissed, but guess what? They'll be pissed anyway. It doesn't matter. So like the reasonable people in this community that want to work with you, give them something substantial. Hold yourself accountable to those things. Do those things. And we'll be much more gracious and merciful than you think we will. Because we're all human, and we understand that you're humans here working on this game too. It's not going to be perfect. But we prefer that and tweaking along the way than what Puppy's talking about here with a 24.0 overhaul. Come in and just revamp this whole thing because we let it get so far out of whack that now we have no choice but to come in with a freaking chainsaw and cut this thing down. I don't think that's a wise way to move forward in this game. I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic.
One
We'll
thing that I
see.
don't want to see, guys, is I don't want to see, and it was nice that there was a rebalance program. I think the concept of rebalance program allowed the game designers and the character developers in order to push the limits and be innovative with regards to their design. Without a rebalance program, and if the community and the game is too demanding on making sure everything is balanced on the get-go, on the offset, once it's introduced to the game, the the champion designers are going to be less willing to take those chances and less willing to be innovative with regards to their champions. They're going to always shoot for the middle, and when you shoot for the middle, it's going to be a boring game. So we do want to see them taking chances, and without that rebalance program, an active rebalance program, um, I fear that it's going to be more bland, and we won't see as
Yeah.
many innovations.
I probably should have clarified when I first said it. The theory behind the rebalance program is completely fine and valid, but then the way they used it was not how the theory would have led you to use it. But I think as well, the one thing that I mean is it can be argued both ways about the opening design space. I think it actually kind of closed design space because of how insane they allowed some of the champs to get. Like Serpent is a great example of they said Serpent is balanced, opens design space, allows us to do all these other things now, and I'm like, right, yeah, cool. But now the creation of Spiral was said by Kabam themselves to be a Serpent counter. Spiral was not marketed as a cool champ with a Mixmaster playstyle, well, preferred Mixmaster playstyle. Rupture, which is a pretty nice damage source. Fervor, which is a pretty nice way of increasing that damage source. She wasn't marketed as this pretty cool champ. She was marketed even on Kabam's own
Serpent
stream
counter.
as
Serpent
she
counter,
counters Serpent. You might wanna. And I'm like, well, this supposed opening of design space has closed you down to we need a Serpent counter, make a champ that counters these abilities and these ones only.
Right,
So
right.
like I get the purpose of you need to go outside the box to increase design space. That's a given, but they went a bit too far outside the box. They went outside 2 boxes, and then it's creating this cascading effect. I mean, Nico Minoru herself is another example of this champion's abilities very weirdly interact with a certain defender's abilities. But like I think Nico is good enough to have her own thing. But Spiral, even nowadays, if you say to people, "Who do you use Spiral on?" Serpent. And after that, and then you'll be like, okay, who after that? And people are a bit like, well, maybe Dark Phoenix. Maybe
Dark Phoenix
like,
occasionally. Yeah, that's it.
She's
Done.
literally known for one thing. When I mean, I'm a big Spiral fan, and she's not a one-trick pony, but it's no surprise she's known this way because of what they cultivated.
Yeah, I think the rebalance program had so much potential, and I think there's only a few fundamental problems with it. The biggest one is just the turnover rate. It would take a year for Patriot to get buffed. What the hell is that? Like they need to be within 1 month. They have like an answer for us. If it was that fast, I think it would actually work. And they need to just not lie and gaslight the community, obviously, in their posts. Honestly, I'm really mad that there is no more rebalance program because I didn't get my Dark Phoenix post. I was so just excited. I feel like I got robbed, dude. I was so excited just to see what they're going to say. Either way, whether they nerfed her or whether it's another Serpent and they're saying she's balanced. Like, it's so funny that they really pushed themselves so much into a corner that the only real solution was to nuke the entire program. Like, that is insane. It's so funny at the same time, but I'm mad because I wanted to know what they were gonna say.
Yeah,
I think
still my favorite MCOC meme of the year is Dark Phoenix, such a strong defender, she killed the balance program. That's still
It's true.
like this year will be known as that probably.
Yep.
I think the rebalance program could have just kind of to your point, the turnover rate and just the announcement rate of them, it made really not a ton of sense to me because a lot of these things that they say 6 months later, we found in the first couple months. I get that there's 2 communities within the game mode: the casual people who don't really spend on these pre-releases and so on and so forth. But a lot of the people who will get these champs from the pre-release, are at the top level of the game, and usually if there's like this overwhelming majority of like, oh, why is this happening? I don't like this, you know. If it's at the top of the game, it probably is gonna extend down to the bottom of the game too. So I feel like these decisions could have came out probably way sooner than they ended up coming out in a lot of these events. You know, like the whole Spider-Woman thing, her ensnare and fumble, people were talking about that immediately and how like, you know, why isn't my Venom working for this Spider-Verse character?
Yeah.
Why isn't my Crossbones working to purify these things? You know, it's like these things are like found out way faster than they are like I don't even know if admitting is the right word, but you know, to that extent of like just I feel like it could have came out faster.
Yeah, I think 3 months would have been well enough time. I don't get what, like, with the amount of people who have, well, not Spider-Man Silver, but any champion in that 3 month window, compared 3 months to 6 months, what additional info are you really learning at that time? You know, I think it's like Puppy said, the issues become known very quickly, and then I think 3 months is a linear amount of time to be like, okay, we know this issue from day one, but how do we actually fix it? And the fix itself might take a bit more time, but 6 months was insane work.
And you know, I think the issue that they have is always these people spend the money on the pre-release. So what do we do if we then want to change them, right? Because you know, obviously they don't want to just give us our money back. They want to keep the money because that's how business works. Uh, but it's I don't know what the solution to that part is. But it's like, you know, if after 2 months you find that the people who bought them from the pre-release are like, wow, this champ is really dumb and doing things that we didn't think that she was gonna do, how to respond to that without making those players mad. But then if you wait the 6 months, then people start to get them from the Titans, and then people get real mad when you change it.
Yeah.
Because then it's the entire community.
I know one thing you can do. You don't make that champion defensive tactic.
God.
Yeah.
That's one thing
Yeah.
you can do.
Yeah.
Okay, we hit Ascension. We briefly talked collectives. We talked Coliseum. We talked Fortress Assault. Was there anything that was at Summoners Fest that we haven't mentioned yet that you guys want to bring up? Something that really excited you, either maybe excited or not?
There
in
was the
terms of
arcade
game stuff.
the arcade game mode we didn't
Yeah.
talk about.
Yeah, that was yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll
Puppy
be honest,
loves
I
it.
think
Isafa hates it.
No,
I
I mean,
I liked it. You know, I wouldn't spend time on it. It was interesting.
yeah, I mean,
I think
I go ahead. I'm sorry, Cantona, go ahead, man. Sorry.
and I'm gonna say a massive spiel, so probably best for you to go first.
No, I mean, I understand it's a different coding skill than coding in the game on the mobile app, the production game. But I mean, really, I mean, why did you do that? And I mean, it didn't interest me. The Dazzler arcade, I couldn't care less.
So just before you go, Cantona, I'll go quick. I didn't try it, but my girlfriend tried it, and she was having fun with it. She doesn't really play MCSC, but she was doing good at that game. So, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, it's just all it is Dance Dance.
That's
It's
it.
what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think this technically wasn't at Summoner Fest, but a lot of people picked up on it or mentioned how it could be implemented or that they liked it. To do with the brawl itself, the Omega Pool champ list and that concept of banned champions, or you select from a list of champions, combined with the pretty much every champ is available. I think that's what I would like Little Leagues to be.
Yeah.
Do it at a lower rarity. I think 3-star is the peak rarity because there's no ascensions and no exclusivity, like whether you go up or down to 2 and 4 stars. If you do it with 3 stars, every champ's available, but then to actually make it different to normal battlegrounds, you then bring in an Omega Pool style system, or just straight up. I mean, I would go even stricter of add a 5th champ to each class so that there's 30 total, and straight up ban all 30 of them. And then you will actually see a lot of deck variety if you ban out all 30 of these champions. If they go with the select 6 thing as well, you'll also see a lot of variety. I mean, at the Brawl, the Omega Pool champs, John was saying some of the data around it. Of the 24 champions, I think they said 13 was picked, like overall, like, which
Wow.
I mean, kind of bad that 11 wasn't picked, but 13 champs being picked, there was not a definitive top 6, you know. So
I mean,
there was. Huh?
yeah,
What?
sorry.
Sorry.
I was gonna say there was a pretty definitive bottom 6.
Yeah. The bottom half was questionable, but you know there was no definitive top 6. You know there was variety. There was people thinking different strategies. It was fun to watch because of said different strategies. I think that is, if I could like go into Kabam offices now and make one thing, it would be that Omega Pool system combined with 3 stars, so everything available. Make that little leagues. You will. A lot of people will like it because of the. I mean, the one thing Kabam might not like is a lack of monetization because 3 stars, but I think they've got enough things to monetize at the moment. If I'm being brutally honest, but
I think
it will be. People will like the alternative experience, and people will like that strategy is kind of back in Battlegrounds with picking your champs, like picking from a pool, or just not having that pool at all.
yeah, I think what's the lowest rarity for StatCast relics? Is it 5-star or is it 4-star?
Statcast
5.
is 5.
5.
5. Yeah. Man, I would, my thought with Little Leagues was then to do 5-star StatCast so you can monetize that alongside like a Little League game mode, but then 5 stars are more annoying to rank up, right? Because they also include ascensions and everything. I like the idea, and something I thought was kind of funny / interesting. All those 5 out of 5 defenders, not all of them made it into the Omega Champ pool. So, it kind of makes me, like one of them who, I guess I'll name it, High Evolutionary, right, is a 5 out of 5 defender, didn't make it, and Silk did. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't really see where that came from. Like, I guess High Evo is one of those champs who actually works well with the Mixed Master play style because you kind of have to anyway.
Yeah.
But like Silk being a part of that list and High Evo, who's marketed as 5 out of 5 defender, not, was kind of wild to me. So
Yeah.
And no
I
spot
think a
either.
couple of the options were interesting.
it's fine.
I think a couple of the choices they put in was questionable at best, downright wrong if you want
Very.
to be brutal. But,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
the concept itself is what I really liked of.
Yeah,
You have to
100%.
pick from these. You
Yeah.
can't just have them all, or just. I mean, I would like a more brutal. You can't have any of these, and I think then it would really shake things up. But I think Omega Pools was, well, it was done for 2 reasons for me. One, they explained to us in the talks because in the like Brawl Discord chat we kind of just posed, hey, why this? And they essentially was like, oh, we don't want the tournament to be boring and full of Serpent and Dark Phoenix. And I'm like, that's cool and I agree, but do you realize what you're saying? That was one thing, but I think the second reason is I do, well, hope, but genuinely think they did the Omega Pools to test it for further Battlegrounds like implementation, and I think that it is a good route to go down. But you please don't take 3 years to do it. Like please, like just BGs needs some help pretty quickly. So, but I think that is a very good route to go down.
I think Omega Pools was amazing how they did it. Like, obviously everybody knows there's like a top percentile of champ, it's like, oh, here's your Serpent, here's your Deathless Thanos, here's your Dark Phoenix, Onslaught, etc., etc. And you get all those champs who are clearly at the top of the game and are clearly getting used in literally every single deck in the top 20, right? Like, I'm pretty sure you could name like 10 champs and they're in every single deck that was in the top 20, right? And so I think if you can manage to take those out in a way that you could still use them, because you don't want to say, hey, all these rank ups you've done for the last few months, worthless. I don't want to see them again. Get them out of here. But I think doing something like Omega Pools would be very helpful for the BG's game mode because you can start to get some of these more interesting matchups. Nagase, one of the players who initially made Brawl, did it with a bunch of really unique and weird champs, and that was kind of something that people were looking forward to see what he would like cook up with a deck of any champ he wanted. And I think you'd be able to see a lot more interesting stuff, albeit it would eventually go meta because that's how BG's as a game mode is. But I think it would have been interesting to get somewhere different.
Well, and I love to that whole point, right? The Omega pools being implemented at least into little leagues of battlegrounds, I think is a good move. That way, not everything is just repetitive, right? And people who don't want to get smashed in the face with Serpent, Dark Phoenix, etc. every round can go somewhere where that's not the case. Now, also an interesting note is I was just sent something that there is a post that just came out that is
I know what you're
called
talking about.
Retroactive Economy Rewards and Deeper Ascension Insights. So,
Wait, what? Right now?
yeah, it came
Wait.
out in the last half
Gotta go
hour.
make
I
a video
will
of this.
Yeah.
link it in here.
If only someone was doing a podcast to cover this.
If only someone was doing a podcast to cover this kind of thing. Imagine that.
Yusafa, you might have caused this post.
I wouldn't be shocked if he did.
Hey, listen, guys. They listen and they watch. So we should take solace in that. They do listen and they do watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I linked that in here. We can take a look. There are some interesting bits and pieces. They tie
There's
definitely
also-
into the 7-star duplicate stuff.
There's also a Cassie Lang post too. Just FYI.
I just went on and saw Cassie Lang Grace Tower, and I'm like, wait, what? That is not what I was looking for.
That sounds
Yeah.
like a fun one. Say the same thing to anyone who's using Cassie, as I've been saying. Enjoy getting punched in the face by the AI when they wait out your gas. That's what's going to happen. At least that taunt will save you from taking too much damage.
Oh my God, they are they are responding to my video. That's what this whole post is. Jesus Christ.
What does
That's
this
funny.
mean? It said every lizard from any source since Summoners Fest will grant 1x champion specific token and 1x class specific token. Like if you just pull lizard, you'll get a rank up thing for him.
Yep.
Yeah, you'll get his Ascension materials, or at least part of it.
Just pulling him, period. Doesn't matter what from. Wow.
Seems like it.
Interesting. I like how we're all just like locked in now on reading it.
Right. This is
I
the real
think
juicy
the-
part.
I think the podcast has fallen apart for a few minutes.
Nah, it's okay. The nice thing is we can edit this. We can cut this out.
I want to point this out. Imperiosa is not included in this list, guys.
Yeah,
Are
that's
you,
true.
come on, man.
Oh.
Yep. So she is not considered a brand new champ.
That's interesting.
Man.
Doctor
she is-
Strange is though interesting.
My idols.
Weird.
What do you mean my idols can't be ranked up?
No, I mean what they announced at Summoners Fest, and I've done a lot of research on it. What they announced at Summoners Fest was any brand new champion released after Pavita Pravarkar and Lizard will
Yeah.
be ascendable on the onset of the Ascension system. Imperiosa doesn't get released until next month. She is a brand new champion,
Yeah.
and now they're walking back, and it's. I don't think that they accounted for Imperiosa when they made that statement at Summoners Fest.
Yeah, this
Wait,
is
Yusafa, did you read this part yet?
this
Which
is
one?
Interesting.
Another aspect of Ascension we announced at Summerfest was that we would be adding 7-star champions to the Ascension pool for. Oh wait, no, not that. What was it? Oh yeah, but the max sig.
Oh, did
It
they
says
say
effective
anything?
immediately. Every time you pull a duplicate 7-star champion from any source, you will retroactively earn shards for a brand new special exclusive Ascension 7-star crystal.
So every time you pull a duplicate 7-star champion from any source, you will retroactively earn shards for a brand new special exclusive Ascension 7-star crystal. Clearly, this name is still very work in progress. Well,
So
shit. That's not what I wanted.
So in that crystal, you can only pull Ascension materials for
And
those 6 champions, and that's the only way to ascend them, I guess.
if you pull a max sig Titan champ, you get even more of whatever this new shard is.
Wait,
No,
effectively.
Cantona. It's every time you duplicate a 7-star champion from any source.
Yeah, no, it's the paragraph below. They
Yeah.
specify Titan champs.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
do
keep
they?
reading.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, specified max sig champions from the
Yeah,
Titan.
even more team exclusive shards from a max sig Titan pull, also effective immediately.
Man, I've got to do a video on this for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, this
Post
is
I'm
interesting.
so-
I can't wait to hear your
2025 with
insights on
exact
this.
costs.
Dude, this
Oh,
got this post has me so lost.
It's a little bit of that, right? I agree. It's
Yeah.
Okay,
it's
so with the
convoluted.
signs of it, there's going to be a pool of around 30 champions. That is the 7-star
Yeah.
Ascension crystal, and then there is a special pool of 6 champions. That is a separate pool of Ascension champions.
Yeah, the whip.
So they've essentially created the basic and the Titan again.
No, they've just made 8 stars. They've made an 8-star
For
launch pool.
Ascension.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is the 8-star launch pool, but split into 2 crystals.
Yeah. You know what? At least my goat lizard is in there. My king.
Yeah.
With the launch of Ascension, around 30 additional currently ownable 7-stars and the January Saga Chase champion will be ascendable. So they've already identified a pool of 30 champions that will be made ascendable.
And it doesn't sound like it's any of the Banquet champions.
Oh, well, yeah, they already announced that, right? That the Banquet champs wouldn't be ascendable yet.
Did they say that specifically?
They
I
just didn't
thought-
say anything, which was the issue.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I thought they did.
specified.
Okay, maybe they didn't. I wasn't fully locked in on the Ascension stuff when it came out.
Yeah. And it's weird that Imperios is not on here. It's very weird.
Yeah,
But when
dude,
it
they
comes-
hate my idols.
So when it
She-
comes to
'cause
spring,
she-
they're running an event in spring to get some of them camps ascended easily for free. So there's going to be like a couple free at the start.
So
I'm
so
free.
this is all good news, guys. This is all good news in my opinion so far. What I've read. So yeah, this is all good news.
Well, yeah, the good thing is that it's retroactive economy rewards are live right now. So
Yeah.
no, there's no more having to hold our crystals.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, they and hey,
It's
just
almost
imagine.
like
Well, I mean, look at the timing, guys. Right? They announced this right before Cyber Week and before people are supposed to be spending their hard-earned money, for these crystal shards. I mean,
Yep.
it's what a coincidence, right?
So the question is, which one of you is the Kabam mole that heard Yusafa say he wasn't opening stuff like an hour ago?
No. I put out videos, man, and I've been talking on the CCP about this shit, and they're
Yeah.
tired of hearing me complain.
He's probably
So-
told them in person.
Yeah, I told
Right,
them in
I'm
I'm
person.
sure he
yeah.
did. But he did quite
Gonna-
literally make a video. That was today. Did you put that out today, Yusafa?
I put one out
Your banquet
yesterday.
warning?
Yeah, my warning video. Yeah, it was yesterday, and then like a week ago, I put one out of "Don't open up your crystals."
Oh, is that you in your
He's
retroactive
opening.
pool? Hey, is that Ace?
Joaquin
What's
Torres.
up, Ace?
Nico.
Joaquin Torres, please. Yes. No.
Oh, I called that.
That is a Nico.
Hey,
Mine's not max sig though, I don't think.
That's disappointing.
manifested.
All right. No,
So-
she's only sig 156.
So Lag, so I'm guessing, man. So I mean, I should go ahead. I should try to maximize my ascendable champions, right? Like,
like opening up all your Titans right now? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean,
because
I would still wait for the changeover personally.
Yeah, pop everything.
well, the next
a
Titan
lot.
pool, I have everybody anyway because I got Cassie, and that was the only one I was missing.
Mm.
Yeah, with the signs of it, you
Yeah.
pop everything because there's a chance. Yeah, because you'll get the shards.
Yeah, I guess so.
Is it only for
Yeah.
the max sig?
I guess so.
No, it's for
There
all
is-
dupes.
It's there's you get shards for all dupes, but if you get a Sig 200 from the Titan, you get an extra bonus.
Yeah, there was nothing extra. Maybe it's not out yet, like immediately. I just got.
They said you'll get the stuff when Ascension actually releases.
I see.
They're
I see.
ticking the counter from now.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Got
Yeah,
This
they
is
have
an
to run a
interesting
Right
move.
from now.
Definitely a
interesting.
response to the drumbeat Yusafa's been putting out there for sure. Definitely trying to get us to open our crystals, but I don't know. Now, I
You
think
should've
they
loved
said
that
at
5
Summoners
minutes for a
Fest that they were going to be using Dust as the primary what keeps you from ascending. So I think that's why these tokens are becoming fairly available. Am I understanding that correctly?
So you need 3 materials
Yep.
in order to ascend what they reported. You need the appropriate tier of dust. So if you want to ascend a champion from tier 5 to tier 6, you need tier 6 dust, right? You also need the champion specific tokens, and you need class ascension tokens. So those are the 3 materials that you need to ascend a champion. Now, from what I'm told, well, so those are the 3 materials.
Yeah.
It seems
Very
based
fair.
on this, then they are very willing to give the champion and class tokens out because that's starting from today. If you pull one of the, well, they haven't told us the champs because they said that's end of the year, but they said the tokens start from today if you pull them.
Yo, I hope
That
my
makes me
goat
feel a little
Patriots
bit
in
better.
there.
I hope it's not.
That makes
Every
me
time I
feel a
see
little bit
Lady
better that you're going to be
Deathstrike, I
getting
know
those
I'm gonna
tokens
be
and
sick.
stuff, and it's more dust related. Because one of the things I was thinking earlier is if I'm pulling these tokens based on RNG, like I was in my Alliance Discord yesterday and someone was telling me he just got his 10th Tech Awakening gem. You imagine how many
Oh,
times
yeah.
you would be getting the same tokens over and over based on the RNG in the game? Like, who wants their
So-
7th Lady Deathstrike Ascension token?
So let me float this, guys. Let me float this real quick. All right, so tomorrow Cyber Weekend, we expect to get a lot of 7-star 6 stones tomorrow out of Cyber Weekend.
Yep.
It probably would behoove me to open up my roster, look who's in the current pool for Titan Crystals, and if I have any champions that are not Max Sig in the Titan Crystal, Max Sig those champions. There's not many of them, and then blow all my Titan Crystals. So
Provided you're trying to get these shards, then yeah, that would be the move. If these shards are where the future is for this thing, then that would make sense.
Yeah, the tokens you can't. You just have to guess on. The shards is a definitive max out the Titan pool, and you get the most shards.
Yeah, I think that may be what I do tomorrow. We'll see.
Okay.
But I'm gonna have to read this post like 5 times. Yeah, I have to read this post like 5 times to understand what the hell's going on.
Yeah,
that's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're back from staring at screens in oblivion because we got a post that was tied directly to something we were talking about.
I feel like we're all just trying to speed read it too.
Yeah, for
right.
Sure. And they got lots of words, and words are hard, and it's late. So there was one thing. I'm going to shift some gears a little bit. There was one thing that I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up because it was very exciting to me from Summoners Fest. And that was the Stellar Forge champs. The Stellar Forge champs.
Yes.
Badass. Good move. The Deathless Chase was one of the most fun things. The Deathless Necro run. Amazing. They kind of built those champs around doing that thing. I'm excited for the Stellar Forge. And eventually 7-star Doom. But man, even just 7-star Star-Lord. I hope they don't mess with his kit too much. But we'll see what that looks like.
Now that you said that, you just gave me an idea, and I really hope Kabam does it. I hope that by the time we get like Stellar Forge Doctor Doom, they release like another Necropolis type thing and have a whole challenge with all the Stellar Forge champions to go through that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's some of the big W for sure.
I think I have literally one gripe with. I mean, they didn't announce much about it. They just kind of announced this is happening, similar to Deathless Champs. All available for free. Well, free in theory if you do the stuff, which is a massive W.
Yeah.
The one thing that I'm pretty sure they confirmed. I don't think they're going back on this, but I'm pretty sure they confirmed that because they're class shifting the champions, Doom is going to be a cosmic apparently.
Yes.
We don't need more OP cosmic champions. They're already through the roof. Make him any other class, please.
You know, I'm gonna piggyback on that. I agree. Like when they said they were class shifting Doom, at first I was thinking like, what possible class could they put Doom to other than Mystic? Like Tech, we already have one of those. Cosmic, that doesn't even make sense. I wanted him to be superior, man.
Yeah,
that would be that would have been so hype.
Now we're talking.
But I mean, yeah, you're right. Another cosmic defender.
Yeah, superior or mutant, I thought would have made the most sense.
I thought he could have been science, you know? Dr. Doom's whole thing is about like fighting Reed Richards. So
that's
yeah. That would have been a solid place to put him.
Set in stone, but I don't want him to be cosmic.
I don't either.
It is set in stone.
Cosmic already has the big four, and if they're called the big four, you don't need a fifth. Like
The big four? Who's the fourth?
Is Maestro in there?
well,
Yeah.
Maestro used to be in there. He's kind of fallen, but he used to be one of the big.
Oh, are you talking about? You're saying Carolina is part of Big Four now?
No. No, probably
who?
can be. No, I was saying Maestro was the initial big bad cosmic defender.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I know he's kind of fallen off a bit now, but like we don't need more cosmics.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Yeah, I like the idea. Even if people say it's rehashing the past, it's a good past. So
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
The Deathless Chase compared to the Idle Chase is not even close. I'm pretty sure we can all agree the
Come
Deathless
on.
Chase is way
Yeah,
better.
although
Although,
absolutely.
I will say the Idle champions so far, I would say, are better than the first 3 Deathless champions.
Oh,
Easily.
unquestionably.
So, and that's what I think. That's what I'm more hopeful for Stellar Forge, because like I feel like that was Kabam's whole thing with Deathless. Like they on purposely undertune those champions. I think I
Yeah.
remember hearing Kabam say they didn't want the Deathless champions to be on par with like a regular monthly release champion, power wise, which I don't really even get why you would do that. But it seems like they're steering away from that with the Stellar Forge chase, and I think that's the way to go. So hopefully it's like a Idle and Deathless chase combined into the best chase yet.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. The idle stuff was, I think, to your point, suboptimal for us all to have to spend cash. At least the vast majority of us.
Yeah.
Right.
No, just get first place in arena. Trust.
Yeah,
trust.
great call. More than
Don't
once,
do
though,
it.
right? Because I
Don't
can't just do
do
it
it.
once and get that champion. I think I have to do it a few times. So
Fight all of the arena botters and do it twice.
Or just get C1 once. Cantona, you got
Yeah.
Imperiosa now, right?
Ugh.
Oh, technically I do. Oh, what a
Right?
dope. Yeah, technically.
That
I
actually-
didn't even realize that.
it's almost like Lags is a professional, because that was the perfect segue. Because we're winding this thing down. Appreciate you dealing with me and my hacking over here. But that's a good point, and we're going back to the round robin here. Cantona, you went to the brawl, you did your thing. More important than that, you got your C1. Can't win a no more,
Actually.
right?
Still
Congrats.
So
can't
that said, you
The
kind of
game's
said
gone.
previously that you were trying to check some boxes, and then where you go in the game from there was kind of eh. So let's
Yeah.
start with you. What does participation and engagement in this game for you look like moving forward?
I'll be honest, I don't know. Seeing as at the time of recording, the game C1 was literally yesterday, because I know this will go out a few days after. But that was literally yesterday, and it still hasn't fully... Like, I've realized it's done, but where I go from here hasn't really, like... I haven't had to really think about it yet. I've done everything I initially wanted to do. I've got the 3 first place titles. I've been to the Brawl. I've met everyone. Everything's been... I mean, it's been certainly a pretty good month, I'd say that. But going forward, I'm not just going to quit. Like, it's not as simple as that. 1, because MCRC addiction is real.
Yeah.
But 2, because I think there is a game worth fighting for based on the Brawl. Like, the Brawl was good enough for me to say, maybe stick around. Maybe try and work with the devs in some way. I mean, I'm just a random person, so they're not obviously going to, like, put me in Kabam Studios and put me at the forefront. But, like, work with the devs to try and push some things through. You know, that there's a game worth fighting for in that sense. So, probably have a chill holiday season. I've kind of done, like, just everything I need to this year. But then 2026, maybe there is something new to go after.
All right, it's good insight. Now, Lags, I mean, you're a staple of the community. You do your thing. You put out the content for us, all the videos, and generally don't hold
Thank you.
punches, which is one of the things I appreciate about you. Now, I did note, you had had noted like your kind of love for BGs had waned before the brawl came back around, and then it just brought out that natural legacy competitor. You were ready to go, you're ready to compete. Now
Yeah.
that's gone. That's gone by the wayside, right? The kind you went through your Summoners Fest, you had your tournament experience. What does participation and engagement look like in the game for you moving forward?
So for sure, I'm definitely gonna maintain my regular schedule, of trying to upload like at least a video a day, and just being who I am in the community and everything, and being on the people's side, especially when Kabam pulls out crazy posts and does weird decisions. As far as engagement, like in the actual game, I still feel like my love for Battlegrounds, like it's not fully back, but it's definitely not fully gone either. It's somewhere in the middle. I've got C5 this last season, just trying to play just to get that emote in the anniversary event. So just having fun with that. So hopefully, be just playing more, streaming more, and eventually, if Fortress Assault comes out and is really good, then my engagement will go up even more.
Sweet. All right, puppy. You were on the fence going in. You said, listen, if Big Thing comes out, count me gone. And lo and behold, a mere 24 hours later, the Big Thing was announced, leading to one of my favorite crash outs of recent history. But then the brawl came and we had some good times together. But it still feels like you're on the fence. What does the future of your participation, I'll get it right one of these days, and engagement look like for you?
You know, I've toyed with the idea of after Cantona got C1 to go full meta rat with all of Cyber and then try and get C1 by just grinding next season, all for the sake of discrediting him, of course.
This is disgraceful work, by the way. Like, imagine hating something to that level.
No, but in all seriousness, I'm probably gonna do a few more seasons of Alliance War. It's a game that I really like. I don't know if I'm gonna play next month. I don't like Big Thing. I don't want to participate in Big Thing. It doesn't do anything for me. And as Cantona said earlier, I feel like a lot of us are in a position where we kind of have rosters at a point where we don't really need much, and that's unique to our positions, right? I don't have anything I'm looking for. So getting the extra one season of Radiance, that's, when it comes to the very top of Alliance War, it's almost just luck, right? It's just like it's so razor thin margins of like, you got one death on one random fight, or a disconnect somewhere, you lost the war instantly, right? And so that isn't something I want to take a part of. And I don't think I will, to be honest. I think I'll probably take a break season next season. And then I'm going to come back. I'm going to give it another good old college try for another few months and see where I'm at. But as of right now, I still haven't found anything that really has brought me off the fence
Okay.
towards either side.
Okay. And we had to save our most special for last.
Special.
Yeah. Now, coming into
So
the brawl, there were some, I think to your point, you were very critical, and I think rightfully so, right? In terms of someone who's invested as much as you have in this game, seeking that value is exceedingly important.
Yep.
And it seems like you have come out of the brawl, coming in a more positive space. It sounds like some of the conversations have been fruitful. You're obviously out there, hitting people in the mouth, as we are already getting responses to a video you released a day ago with Kabam assuaging all of our concerns and making sure that we're locked in for our duplicate crystals. So,
Yeah.
Sir Yusafa, what does participation and engagement look like for you moving forward?
Yeah, so before the brawl, I love this game. All of us love this game. We played it for a very long time. I still love it. I still find it fun. Still find it entertaining. I still love the fact that there's a social aspect to the game. Be able to work with my friends, to talk to a lot of the streamers, to hang out with wonderful fellows like you guys. I think community aspect is still number one priority of this game. I love it. Game is wonderful. After the Brawl, I have a better sense of idea of where the game is going, especially with the new Ascensions, the new game modes. I feel like the company is still investing in the game, which makes me feel fantastic. I still believe that the bugs are and the fixes take way too long. They should be addressed immediately. And then, of course, the game is a lot different than it was 2.5 hours ago when we started this conversation, because with this latest post that Kabam has released, I do feel like they're trying to be more communicative, as well as respond to a lot of the issues that have been raised to them. This latest post that just came out, it's fantastic. I feel like they have addressed or are trying to address a lot of the concerns that we have as a community. So, where am I with regards to how I feel with the game? Am I going to continue playing with it? Absolutely. I will still continue playing. I'll still keep investing in the game. I'm still having fun. Does that mean that in the near future that I won't change my mind? Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of things that could go wrong and that could dissuade me from playing this game anymore. Yeah, we'll have to see. If they have another bad month like they did in October, it's going to be hard to keep a lot of people engaged in this game. But right now, I'm still going to continue.
Okay. That sounds lovely. And now we get to our typical close where we get to give a message to Kabam and a message to the people. But let me set a little bit of the table. I think we've generally agreed that the going into Brawl, Summoners Fest, the game was in a rough spot. I think the relationship between the game and the community has been in a rough spot. I think that we agree that the time there was a great step of momentum, a step in a direction of building a bridge. I think that was the terminology I left off with Crashed and Zen, right? We're trying to build a bridge between the game and the community, and I think that they're taking steps to do so. But underlying all of that, of course, is this lip service, and there's still a ton of uncertainty out there. So with that said, we'll go through the order. Message to Kabam as we close this thing out. Cantona, kick us off.
I think the main message I want to give is, I've said it a few times already, is don't you dare close this open dialogue that we've created from the Brawl. The Kabam devs from the Brawl, that version of them, open to talk, will give necessary feedback, will explain to you in honest words why something cannot happen. Keep that version of the devs. Keep that version of communicating. There was a few times at the Brawl where I said something to Zen and he was like, this can't happen because of X and Y, and I'm like, okay, fair enough. You've given me explicit reasoning why. The reasoning makes sense. It might not have been what I wanted, but I would rather you communicate with me the actual valid reasoning instead of this wishy-washy, hand-wavy approach we've had. So essentially keep the Brawl version of communication around.
All right, Lags.
I would say just big +1 to what Cantona just said, absolutely. And then from there, you know, I want Kabam to be more accountable with the community, especially when it comes to balance and the rebalance program, the end of that and everything, and just champion balance going forward. So hopefully more communication about that, and just like keep improving the game, especially battlegrounds. It's gotten very stale. Introduce omega pools to it. Do little leagues. Do stuff to keep the game exciting and keep us playing, keep us wanting to stream it, to make people want to come and open our stream and watch something enjoyable.
Puppy?
Again, a big +1 to both what you said. I just, I think the main thing I'd like is to see not only the steps put out towards the future, but also the steps to be looked at, and like for things that have been happening in the past that are still not fixed. I'd really like to see, one of my big issues that I've had is like, I don't think we've had a month in a long time where there hasn't been several major bugs that come out. And I'd love to see steps in the right direction to see something come out and there just not be major issues with it.
All right, Yusafa, you've been sending messages to Kabam nonstop. We know that. What do you have for him in this podcast?
Keep your promises. So you have made a lot of announcements over the past couple weeks. You have made some certain promises to the community and the player base. Please keep your promises. Please keep your timelines. Please do not disappoint. That's my message.
Very good. Very good. And now another important group, though, because Kabam is one side of this thing, but then we can't lose sight of the community. And to set that table as well, we got to remind them that a relationship is two-sided, right? We, the community, if we want Kabam to get better, right, we want them to learn from the mistakes of the past. So one of the things I saw constantly was you won't change Serpent, but you're changing Spider-Woman. We want them to learn from screwing up on things like Serpent, right? We want them to learn from the mistakes that they make. And we also have to show some grace and mercy when it comes to them trying new things, flops or not. Hopefully those communication things are open. But that said, Cantona, message to the people. What do you got for them?
Don't expect everything to be fixed by the end of 2025. I think is a big thing. Like, I mean, even if I give some feedback today to Kabam Zen, which I might do actually because I have a few other things in my head, but like, don't expect an instant response. They will not fix the game in a week. They will not fix it in a month. They probably won't fix it in a year. But if they keep going towards a more fixed game, that is a good track to be on. I would rather them be slowly going towards the game being as perfect as we can get it than them doing nothing at all. So yeah, give them time, but hold them accountable to said time.
My message to the people is just, my advice is just to play the game at your own pace, whatever that looks like. Time spent, money spent, whatever is your own pace, whatever you're comfortable with. Just stick to that. Don't let anyone pressure you into doing anything else. And remember, at the end of the day, this is a game on our phones that we're supposed to be having fun with. So always have fun with it. And just thank you to everyone who supported me, especially going into the brawl. Just much love.
Yep. My advice is very similar to Cantona's, and it's just, things aren't going to get instantly fixed. It's not how development works. They hear issues and it's going to take multiple months to fix. It's just how the process goes. But I also think we should really be holding them accountable as we ask them to hold us accountable, communication is a two-way street. I'd like there to be an aspect of communication on both sides that's not completely ridiculous. It's not like these expectations of like, oh, why isn't everything perfect all the time? And that's really it. I think we should just be open and honest and continue trying to communicate in a healthy way.
Yep. So my message to the community is that in this grand ecosystem that we live in, playing this game, there are many different types of players. There are whales, there are casual spinners, there are free-to-play players, there are content creators that live out in YouTube or the Twitch lands. We are all part of one grand community. We are all looking to have this game have a bright future, and we need to work together in order to affect positive change, to keep this game alive and thriving and fun. So let's stay together, stick together, have a unified voice, and only that way can we keep this game thriving and enjoyable.
Well said.
Amen. Well said. To that, once we wrap this up here momentarily, I'll let you guys know a little something secret going on in the background where I'm enlisting to do those types of things with you as well. But gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you setting time aside in the busy schedule to get together, to yap a little bit, and to just give some exposure to the community of the things that they don't see. Right? It's very common in our era where if you don't see something, you don't hear something, therefore it didn't exist. But hey, big round of applause to you for getting together and just expressing to the community where your heads are at, what you've experienced, and where you're at now. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Sure.
Until next time. Peace.